Hello and welcome to episode 154 of Flix and a Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me, forever and always, the man, the myth, banana yeast, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
I'm a pretty messed up loser guy.
Oh man, just a sneak peek at the tremendous dialogue in today's film. On this week's episode, a hot new sequel is inbound, what I'm begrudgingly watching, and other news and nuggets, all before diving into our flick of the week, Wonder Woman 1984. But first, Al, what are we drinking?
Well, before we are drinking, I do have something I have to inform you. This is episode 155.
That's right.
And you said 154?
Did I? I did.
I'm pretty sure.
You're right. You're right. I think it stays.
Well, I was like, you're usually the official keeper. I often ask you.
No, 100%.
And
I appreciate it. I've updated the note. I would like to point out that in the notes, I have the episode number written in 3 different places. All 3 different places. 3 different numbers. So I am off to a great start.
One of them isn't even a number. It's a glyph from...
This episode is being released on the 1st of the year. So it can only go better from here.
Oh, is that what's going to happen? Are we going to... Wait, is this what it is? We're like the doors and wheels are falling off of this car on this show in 2020, and we're just hoping to make it to the finish line?
That's right. That's right.
Is this going to stick to that? Are we going to do a Jan 1 release of a brand new episode of Flix and a Six?
I mean, if I edit it tomorrow.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were working tomorrow and you took off.
No, I'm not. I did take off. I've actually took off the whole week, and it's been good. It's been fun. I'm doing a lot of like little things that I want to do, like working on some stuff in the garage, playing some games, watching some movies. I always have this odd little feeling of guilt when I have days off and I'm not like...
Oh no, get rid of that. Get rid of that real quick.
On a vacation, like out somewhere. I know, it's weird.
Well, first of all,
I'm getting over it. I'm doing better this time. No, for sure. It's just a weird thing. I do think, like, it crosses my mind a couple times a day. I'm like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong by being off. I don't know. It's weird.
See, I agree. I like, if I'm going to take off, I like to be doing something. It doesn't necessarily have to be vacation. It also, it depends on how many days you're taking off or whatever, right? But like to know that there's like something, an event, a project, a trip, whatever that you're taking off for. But I think everyone has to learn to master the art of the staycation. Even if you're going to say, I'm off for 3 or 4 days, and this is going to be my lazy day, this is going to be my working around the house day, this is going to be my doing whatever the thing is that is cool to do day, like whether it be going out or a party or a trip or whatever.
Sure. No, I mean, let's be clear. Like, I've gotten better at it. Like, because I used to not, I haven't done it. There's been previous jobs where I like just didn't take a day off unless it was for like a specific vacation. This time I took it off in between the holidays. I thought it would be a nice place to actually have that time off. And it has been. I've been kind of chilled, doing things. And it only crosses my mind every once in a while. But there's been times in the past where I've had like a day off or 2 days off. And I've like, it ends up like ruining the day, feeling like just like a weird feeling of guilt that I should be working because I don't know why. I have a complex. I'm not sure what it is.
There's also been other jobs where you've taken off days so we could go see Star Wars.
That's true. That's true. I didn't feel guilty about that.
No, but
I also took those days off like a year in advance.
Yeah, well, so one of them was for sure at least 6 months. So it was the day that the first teaser trailer released, and the tickets went on sale.
In one of those jobs, it was like you had to those days off. Like, I guess like the way that was split up, there was like vacation days and there were sick days, and I had the vacation days set aside for an actual vacation. So months in advance, I said I'm going to be sick on December something, and my boss approved.
Well, I'm pretty sure you put in the memo Star Wars, and you get back a
Star Wars flu. Yeah, I did that. That was definitely another one, and yeah, it was like that was. I like that people. I like working for nerds as a nerd. I think it's great.
Yeah, that definitely has got to help in that sort of thing. But bringing it all back to the beer, it's been too long since we've had a Jack's Abbey beer, which is what we're doing today. It's a Jack's Abbey craft lager. It's a Luna Lupulus. It's a hop moon in quotation marks. I'm not sure what that is exactly.
Hop moon. I'm doing heavy air quotes.
Officially part of the title. I realize that it's been a while, I guess, since we've had a brand new Jack's Abbey because I don't recall this little badge on the bottom saying it's part of the Kings County Brewers Collective.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York. I'm pretty sure Jack's Abbey's in Massachusetts, so I'm kind of confused why a brewing collective in Brooklyn has a member in Massachusetts.
It's a great question. Yeah, I'm not sure. Has their logo always been wolves howling, or is that specifically for Lupin over here?
Oh, I have no idea. I always remember the hexagons.
Right.
I don't remember those wolves, or it's also entirely possible because until you said those were wolves, I didn't process that they've been there the whole time, and I've just never noticed them.
They're either wolves or they're two Christmas trees that have fallen over towards each other.
No, they're definitely wolves, and those are definitely the phases of the moon around it, now that you mention it. This all makes sense. Also, underneath, that is a hop that's also a grenade.
That I missed.
So, you know what? We're helping each other out, because you missed the hand grenade hop.
Did you just say we're hopping each other out?
No, but that would have been better if I did.
This is why we take 1 week off in between episodes. We're in rare form every 2 weeks, and I think it's great. It makes for great radio? Is that what you would call this?
I've heard a lot of people who are in like radio and podcasting who also struggle with whether calling a podcast is radio. I always kind of say it as radio, even though we're not, because I guess probably because we're not broadcast live in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
I don't know.
But how about this? When you're listening to a pre-recorded radio show, sometimes they do reruns during the holidays. Is it radio?
Yes, but it was originally radio.
Interesting. But you don't... Yeah, I'm not sure.
We're gonna have to study in the coming weeks and months, because I
think we just have to decide what it's called.
Sure.
As a duo.
No, I meant, sorry, beyond that. We're going to have to study what it is. What is the thing that unleashes our manic energy when we do take a week off? Because it is a thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm all hopped up on movies. I'm not really sure. I want you to know, I would like to point something out to you. I have this list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've watched... That's only the Christmas one. I've watched like 15 movies since we last spoke.
Okay, I mean, it's only been 14 days since we last spoke, so
maybe that's what's going on. Maybe
you've averaged more than a movie a day.
There was a weekend where I think I watched 10 of those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, I believe it.
And they were all Christmas movies.
Okay, that seems excessive.
So,
but
it was pretty great. It's pretty great.
Sorry, getting back to the beer. It's 12.5 Play-Doh, 5.1% alcohol by volume. It's an unfiltered, unpasteurized pint of lager. It's a Volmond beer. And no, I don't know what that is.
Okay. And naturally, it comes in pints.
Yes.
Naturally.
It's Marzen brewed during the full moon. That explains the recurring imagery of moons. And
that's what's going on with these wolves and the Luna.
Yeah.
And what does Lupulus mean?
Well, we did talk about the Lupulin thing, right? That like reduced down essence of hop that's used to dry hops. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Essence of hop sounds like you're a mage making beer.
Now I shall cast essence of hop.
Yeah, you did. We did.
I think Volmond might literally be German for full moon.
Oh, okay. We got to put something on this side of the can too. Say moon again. Also, has the crosshatch like design, has it always been this trippy?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let's give this beer a taste, shall we?
Yeah, sure, if you insist.
Sure. Oh, you want me to drink it?
We're just going to talk about it all day. Yeah, I'm not accustomed to hops being a strong part of a Marzen. Kind of dig it, though.
Yeah.
I think it might just be a Jack's Abbey thing.
It's just unique. I like it. It's. I feel like it's a bunch of different beers that I've had all crammed into one.
So, like, I've gone through this fight for years with my brother about, like, generally lagers. Mostly it was, like, the very pale ones that bore the shit out of me. This is the type of thing I would drink all the time.
This is okay. So I think we've established a couple things with my beer taste over 155 episodes. I usually don't care for there's whatever that flavor is in certain Belgian beers. I think it came down to the yeast that I'm not a huge fan of, right? Then there's also things that are malt forward that I'm not a huge fan of.
Wait, no, was that the beer or the term? I don't remember.
Both. Why not both? This has that very malty fragrance when I cracked it open. I don't taste that though, and I'm happy about it because when I smelled this immediately, I was like, "Oh man, I chose a bad one." But then I was like, "But it's Jack's Abbey."
How do you feel generally about Scotch ales?
See, that's the one that was like a little bit on. We had that recently. That was the one that was on the other side where it was similar to this, where it's like I smell it, I don't think I'm going to like it, but I do like it, but it doesn't not taste like the smell. So I don't really know what that's about. I have a hard time figuring out what it is that I dislike, but there are certain things that I taste them and they go, "This isn't for me." And it's upsetting when you've purchased a whole bottle of it out and it's expensive.
Yes, I do definitely want to make a Scotch.
And by bottle, I mean glass. I don't generally purchase a bottle of that stuff out. I would like one bottle, please.
I'll take one bottle of your finest ale.
This is really good.
Yep.
It's like it's got a little bit of a dryness, I feel like, at the end, which I kind of dig.
Well, that's what tends to happen with those malt forward beers is they can have that runaway residual sweetness that
maybe that's what I don't like.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's something that's malt forward. So without the proper amount of bittering to balance it, and if it does have a lot of sugars that haven't been broken, unbroken down sugars that don't get fermented, you're going to taste it, and it won't be necessarily sickly sweet in a way that a Belgian triple can get, but that's got actual candy sugar in it. Super malt forward beers, if they have those sugars that are still just floating in the beer, it can be good if you like it. If you don't, though, that gives you that. It almost has that stacking effect on the palate, where the longer you drink it and the more you drink it, it feels like it's actually in your mouth.
Yeah, and then every time as they're getting closer to the end of the glass, I just lost my words for a second there. Did you hear that? It sounded like I went underwater and I choked.
I can't relate. I've never fallen asleep while recording this show.
But when you get towards the end of a glass like that, I feel like I'm kind of powering through it and hoping that it's over, and I'm going, I guess I just don't like that. I will say I smell the can, right? If I put my nose in the can and whiff, I hate it. I don't like the way this smells. It tastes delicious, though. Anyway, I'm going to go one thuckle. Not one thuckle, two thuckles. I got confused.
Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging. I could have swore I unmuted my microphone, and I didn't.
It's all good. I thought you just weren't amused.
No, I actually chuckled, and that would have come through had my microphone not unmuted.
That's nice.
You said you give this one thuckle?
Two thuckles. I was trying to give it one thumb.
Oh.
And then I forgot about our scale.
I'm going to give this 3 thuckles.
3 thuckles? That seems fair. Fair. If it wasn't for the smell, I think I'd go 3 thuckles.
Just pinch your nose.
That's what I'm doing, but that requires one of my thuckles.
By the way, where is Gary? We forgot to invite Gary for this.
Oh shit. Is he around? Can we have him call in?
Oh my god. I'm going to text him now, and that'd be great if we had a drop in.
Just text him and keep that going on the side, and we'll see if we got him in. We got him in. And we'll do it live, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if you can add somebody to the recording.
Should I? Well, you could send him the link, couldn't you? Oh, but will it not pick up in progress?
I have no idea. But it's fine. I forgot that he wanted to do this.
I mean, technically.
Sorry, Gary.
Technically, we could just pause the recording at the point that he's ready to jump in.
You can't pause live radio, Al.
Sorry, I forgot. But you could just stitch the two together, couldn't you?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you're not working tomorrow.
No, that's right. I guess
you won't have any guilt now. You'll feel justified. You're working on a project.
That's true. I'm still going to leave the episode number in.
Should I give you a 4th number for the episode?
It's way too muddy. Welcome to episode 347. No. That wasn't one of them. Okay, three thuggles. I dig it. It's good stuff. Before we move into news and nuggets, though, on the topic of things that you put in your mouth, do you like? Are you like a salty or sweet snacky guy?
As far as snacking goes, I'd say salt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, everyone enjoys like a nice little piece of like candy or fudge or chocolate or whatever. At any other time of the year, I would not have dropped fudge into that, but it's Christmas time and there's fudge pounds. So,
you're playing right into what I want to talk about, and that is favorite Christmas treat.
Oh, okay. Well, see, actually,
you got one. I didn't have much of a lead up after that.
What's that?
I didn't have anywhere else to go with that other than you got one.
Well, I was gonna say, sorry, it put me off in my own little tangent that you spurred off here.
Sure.
I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, yeah, obviously my mom has always made a ton of delicious Christmas cookies. And I realized, like, hang on a second. Does Anthony's mom make Christmas cookies? Because I don't recall specific cookies for Christmas around your house for the holidays. And obviously, I grew up spending Christmas at the day after Christmas to New Year's at your house every year.
Oh, yeah. We always had cookies.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to remember. I was like, but also some of that time was also like, Mama made them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we used to make them with Mom. A handful of them at least. We used to do a whole batch at our house growing up, and then some other cookies with Mom and Pop Up.
Well, I'm just also thinking even like around New Year's, like in recent years, I'm like, I know there's always cookies out, but I know some of them are my mom's cookies, and some of them are probably your mom's cookies, and some of them are definitely also like pastry cookies that have been purchased as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm realizing that I actually have never really made the connection as to what all, like, whose are what. Like, I just know which ones are my mom's, and there's just the other cookies, you know?
Yeah, this was the whole. This happened maybe a few years ago. Or actually, it's been longer than that. There was a glass shattering moment for me. You know, when you think back on things from your childhood, and they were like, there was much more of it, or they were bigger or more like exuberant than they possibly could be. And if you experience them again, it's like not that crazy. Like, you go to your school, anything. You go to your school as an adult and you're like, oh my God, this room is so tiny. Like things like that. Like where it's like, this is not, I remember this being so much bigger or so much more grand.
I did have a moment like that the other day, actually, in which I picked up a 12-ounce can of soda.
Uh-huh.
It's like, this is impossibly small. And I was like, I feel like I don't recall these being so small. It's like, thinking back, I was like, when was the last time I held a 12-ounce can of soda? Because I might have been 8. Yeah. And that's why it seems so small.
And you needed both hands. Yeah. No, so this was great then. We were making these cookies, right? And they're just, I don't know what, like, there's just, cookies are fun in theory, I guess, or they're fun at first. The novelty wears off.
Fun in theory?
Yeah, the novelty wears off rather quickly when you're making a lot of Christmas cookies. We still make them every year. It's gotten better and better each year with the amount that we make. And this is where it all started, was we were making these wine cookies, and like they're just, you roll it into a ball and you put your thumb in it, and it's got like, it looks like a little hat, and then you drop that hat in like boiling honey, and then boiling wine, whatever it is. Yeah, a wine, and then you drizzle it with hot honey. It's a whole thing. It's very dangerous. It's like the corn bowler, but you're making these little hats, and it's like it's a thing of dough, and you roll a little tiny thing, and you put your thumb in it, and that's one cookie, and you got to do that over and over and over and over again. And we were making them. It's like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, this is taking forever. There's so many of these. And then my mom was like, this is a quarter of the size of the dough. And I was like, what? When we were younger, we did more than this? I was like, this is the opposite of how this usually plays out.
Well, also, it sounds like you picked a particularly obnoxious cookie to make.
Oh, no. I mean, that goes hand in hand with all of them. It turns out that we've cut the recipe down to like a third or a quarter for all of the cookies that we make, because it used to be like a thing. We made all these cookies, and you gave like so many of them away to like, you made like these plates, and you gave them to people. You put a bow on it, tin foil, boop, boop, pop, send it out. But like, oh my God, like it was like a 2-day affair. Like there was, and now it's like one day, a couple hours, and we bang them all out, and it's much more pleasant.
Well, that's the thing I think that my mom has figured out as well. Not that she didn't do that in the past. She has cut down the number of cookies that she's made, but also some of them have been swapped for other cookies, so the total number isn't that far down. But she also realized I need to stop doing, this weekend I'm going to bake for 2 days straight. And she makes a type of cookie or two and then freezes them and then makes a type of cookie or two and then sticks them in the container and then makes a type of cookie or two. So it's more like a 10-day process, but not every single day. So I think it manages things a little bit better, and it's like her.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes,
I got
exactly.
it. That makes sense. That's a better way to do it. We usually do it like the weekend before Christmas. We'll go to my parents' house and we'll do it, and it's just an ordeal. But it was far fewer cookies this year, and it was way more manageable, and I liked it better. But that comes to my point of favorite Christmas treat. We make all of these cookies, and I think it's safe to say that I am a savory snack guy. Not a big fan. I'm not a big sweets guy. Like, I like the occasional dessert. I like the occasional sweet thing with my coffee. I like that a lot. And of course, I like ice cream. But I feel like probably 9 times out of 10, if you were to put something salty in front of me, I would take the pretzels over cookies. You know what I mean?
It depends on the thing. I realize I don't like really gratuitous dessert foods, in extreme quantities. I like 4 bites of it. I love cake. I love cake for 3 or 4 bites. And then I'm done with it. I do not want a large slice of cake. I don't want sometimes after half of a cupcake, I'm like, I've enjoyed my time with this and I'm done.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah. If it's good ice cream, I'll eat a decent amount of ice cream. Although that also makes things more uncomfortable because it's just it just sits if you eat a lot of ice cream, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a limit on ice cream too. That's more of a stomach issue than anything else.
Cookies and brownies, assuming the brownies aren't too much, cookies and brownies I can eat a lot of as far as sweets go.
Okay.
The right type of cookie or whatever?
I could do a cookie.
It depends. There's some cookies where it's that was a nice 1 or 2 cookies, but then my sister made these mint chocolate fudge sandwich cookies, and I ate 8 of them. And that was basically a meal.
Oh, dude, let's talk about mint cookies for a second, and mint desserts. If you know about it going in, I'm all for it. If I'm actively choosing to have the minty thing, I'm about it. I like it. A mint chip ice cream, a mint cookie. If I grab a cookie that looks like it's going to be chocolate or something else, and it's mint, I'm repulsed. I don't know what it is. I get so mad.
Sorry, I haven't said
if I were to,
we may have landed Gary. So.
Oh snap! If I grab a cookie though, and it's thinking that it's something else, and it turns out to be mint, that'll ruin your weekend. It's not. I don't know what it is.
Oh no!
I get set off.
These cookies, I didn't realize they were mint, and I've been into it, and I was delighted to discover that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're on. I would. They could be the most delicious cookies ever. If I'm not expecting the mint and I get it, I'll be upset. I don't know what that is.
So my mom makes pinoli cookies. I will eat a lot of those. My mom makes 7-layer cookies. I will eat a lot of those.
Sure. Does she make them like my mom makes them, where they're cakey rather than dense?
She's kind of halfway between. It's not super cakey, but it's also not I will murder you with a brick of this. Yeah.
You mean the bad ones you get from the bakery? Yeah.
Exactly. No, but also sometimes the cakey ones get too dry.
Oh, no. I have a feeling that our parents probably have the same 7-layer cookie recipe.
I'm sure they're in the similar range, yes.
It's false advertising. They're not cookies. That's really what I'm getting at.
They're cakes?
Yeah, they're cut into cookie-sized... They're cookie-sized cakes. Yes. We should stop talking about cookies.
I'm okay with it, actually. We can keep going. There's another cookie that my mom makes that's delightful, but this one I'll only have 2 of, and it's some sort of doughy chocolate cookie with a slight an indent in the middle, the way that you would do for one of those Hershey's Kiss peanut butter cookies, but in the middle is a maraschino cherry. And then fudge is drizzled over top.
That sounds good.
Really good. But that's
I think I may have had one of those in your house once.
She's made them before around Christmas time, so I'm sure you've had them.
Okay,
It's a very good cookie.
I think I've had that. That tracks.
The other one that she makes around this time that she didn't make this year that I love is like those like coconut macaroons with like the maraschino cherries in it.
Yeah,
I will eat 37 of those.
That sounds good too. Even that though, that's like a one cookie thing. One cookie for me, and I'll enjoy that. I will say though, we talked about the 7-layer cookie that is a cake, right? It's basically cake in cookie size, right? That's how the 7-layer ends up coming out. If it were the other way around, if you gave me a cookie that was cake size, I don't think I'd be interested. That just seems like too much cookie.
I do enjoy fruitcake around the holidays.
Mm-hmm. I like that too.
I love apple pie. I will eat half an apple pie.
Yeah, just a little bit. Little piece. I'm good. But what is your favorite holiday treat?
I mean, I think we just talked about them.
It's all of them?
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean, if I had to choose one of those of all the
gun to your head, one holiday treat.
It's going to be probably the 7-layer cookie.
You go Christmas ham. Wait, what? It's not a treat.
Oh my god, I just remembered I have to find this now. This saga about hams, Christmas hams. But while I'm finding that and you give me your treat, can you send the Skype link? Not the Skype link, obviously the recording link to Gary via Slack.
I sure can. Let's see if we can get him in here. This will be fun. I will say that my treat.
For like 15 more minutes, just so you know.
That's fine. Sorry if you hear all that typing. My keyboard's obnoxious, and I usually don't type on it during the show. But this is we're doing it live. We're trying to get Gary in here. I feel like it's worth it. My favorite holiday treat is Chex Mix. I make it every year, and I love it. And it's it's in the same tin from like the 40s. that was my mom's tin that I inherited.
Wait, is it one of those ones with like that was cookies that like there's all the jokes online now about where like people like grandmas and moms like put like sewing stuff inside of them and stuff like that?
No, it was it is specifically a Chex Mix tin. Like there's Chex Mix on the outside of the tin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a single purpose tin. There's no if you're putting something else in it. If I open that and found sewing things inside of it, I would be pissed.
Okay, I found the thing. So,
what do you got?
Have you seen this? Because it's been around for a couple of days now. It's a quote tweet this with a mundane experience you've shared with someone who's more famous than you. Have you seen this tweet floating around?
No.
Okay, so this Adam Amin, he used to work at ESPN. He works for Fox now. He calls like football games and stuff like that. He said, John Hamm and I bump into each other at the bar, each signaling for the bartender. Now, so AA is Adam Amin. AA, hey, sorry about that, bud. JH, all good, man. AA, nods. JH, nods. Underneath that, Molly McGrath, who is a sideline reporter for ESPN, responded to Adam Amin and says, this is somewhat unrelated, but every Christmas my family gets a honey glazed ham and we name it John Hamm and talk about it like it's a special holiday guest all week. And so someone else jumps into the thread and goes, important follow-up. So this is Mike Golick Jr. Important follow-up. Do you guys eventually eat John? Molly responds, absolutely. What should we do for lunch? Well, we have John Hamm at home. Can someone go to the store and get some rolls for John Hamm? We don't need takeout. John Hamm is in the fridge. It's creepy, but it's tradition. Also, this Christmas we couldn't be with family, but my husband and I still bought a mini John Hamm, and he's still in the fridge. Our only holiday guest. Ham sandwiches all week. Bonus points if you eat John Hamm sandwiches while watching John Hamm movies. And then nice. The final bit, I'm going to hold up my phone to the screen, and hopefully you'll be able to see this. The final tweet about John Hamm, and she put a picture up on Twitter, and it's John Hamm.
Oh my god! It took a minute for that to load up, but that's ridiculous. It's a picture of his face, plastered on the cross cut of a ham,
with several slices of John Hamm removed from the John Hamm.
Right. That's ridiculous. Oh boy! Hey Al, what do you say we get into some news and nuggets?
Oh wait, is that not it? Are we still starting the show now?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it now.
We're gonna do it live.
Let's start off with something that you shared with me that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the trailer for Coming to America. A couple things here. I'm very excited. One, very excited just because I was a huge fan of the first one. I watched it over and over again when I was younger, and it's something that me and my sister watched together a lot, and she made me promise that I will watch the second one with her, so that'll happen. Two, and this
is the two in the middle.
It's got the two in the middle, and it's just like, it's not that hard.
It's not
Fate. All right, it's not that hard. Just do it. What's wrong with you? It looks very silly. It's probably, I can't imagine it's going to be good after all this time. That being said, I'm excited to see it. I love the shtick of Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall playing multiple characters in the same room at the same time. I think that's a very funny thing that hasn't happened in a long time. And I find it entertaining. Has
it been since he was the Nutty Professor?
I don't know, maybe, but it's a great shtick, and all the characters are back. I love that they're the same age as they were in the first one, and they don't seem to have changed at all, which is really great. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Do we know? Is that gonna be a theater movie? Or is that gonna be? Oh no, that's gonna be a streaming thing. Isn't it Prime or something like that? I don't know. It's on something. I don't know when it's coming out. It's this year, I think.
At this point, do we know when anything is going to happen? Whether it be theater or not theater? Does anyone really know?
It's a great question. I don't think so.
Just appreciate that the thing can happen, whether or not it will at the time that we've described it to.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see this one. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a lot of
sit down and watch the whole first movie before that.
Well, yeah, our episode should probably be the two of them.
That would make sense.
You know, because I feel like it's not. I mean, if the second one by itself, sure, but at this point, I feel like we wouldn't do 2 episodes on Coming to America, like the first one and the second one. I just feel like they wouldn't. They don't warrant 2 separate episodes.
Flix 2-6.
Nope, we're not doing that. But I'm looking forward to it. That'll be fun. If you are a fan of the original, the trailer, it plays all the right notes. So it nails it. Al, give me a new.
Before that, we're gonna have to take a brief pause because I forgot to plug in my computer and it's going to die.
No.
I have returned.
And we're back. I will say, forgetting to plug in your computer, far better than forgetting to plug in your microphone. Brian.
Is that a Brian special?
It happened once. It was pretty great. It was, we reached the end of the episode, and he goes, "Oh no," and he holds up the other end of the USB cable.
It didn't sound obvious?
No, it didn't. I guess the microphone on what he was using was pretty clear. It was also one of the earlier episodes that we had done of Game Bites, so like he was still getting used to his equipment and stuff. But it was fine. It edited fine. Give me a new now that you're back.
Would you like a new about Creed 3?
Sure.
Didn't you enjoy the Creed movies?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed both of them. I don't remember how it ended. I don't really remember what happened in them. Based on that, I'm guessing that I don't need a third one. But hey, I'll watch it.
Okay, so disclosure, I have not seen either of the Creed
movies.
Well,
it's Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a good time.
I know you've seen the movies because you were raving about the first one when you saw it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I remember really liking it. I don't remember what happened.
Okay, so...
hang on. Side story. I'm doing this boxing program, and the final week of it, it's a live workout. They did, like, each one of them was filmed individually. The final week of it was in Philly, and the guy... this is my second time through it, and the guy that's leading it... you spend every day with somebody that has certain tics, they get on your nerves. So I start yelling at the screen, right? And I really just don't like him at this point because I've just seen him too many days in a row. But he's punching, and like I'm starting to get nasty about it, right? So like he's like punching and he's like, come on, do it. Like he's like trying to hype you up. He's like, do it. Make Rocky proud. I was like, he's a fake person, you dumbass, as I'm punching into the air.
I mean, they were in Philly, so.
That's, yeah, I know. Oh, are there whales upstairs?
I don't know if that was the vacuum or the most obnoxious moving of furniture of all time.
It sounds like the latter. Anyway, so we got a third one coming.
It's the vacuum. It's the vacuum.
Good time to do that. 9:15 on a Wednesday.
What's particularly insulting about it is we got a fucking Roomba. It ran this morning.
Wait, maybe it's Roomba. Maybe he's wreaking havoc upstairs.
No, it's not the Roomba.
All right.
So you would not hear the Roomba. It's quiet.
Anyway. So tell me about this movie.
Creed 3, as you can kind of hear the vacuum. Tessa Thompson says Michael B. Jordan is directing the next Creed, which would be a debut. This is yesterday, apparently. As reported by Daily Mail, Tessa Thompson has said Michael B. Jordan is indeed directing Creed 3. He is directing the next Creed. It's going to be ammo, I think, for me when he's engaging with me as a director. Thompson said in an interview with MTV News for her new film, Sylvie, I'm just going to tell him to dial down the sexiness. But we're not going to make it until later in the year, so who knows what happens. Another man will be... I don't know if he'll still be the sexiest man alive in 6 months.
I feel like I would be more surprised by this if I didn't think that he directed one of the other ones already.
Well, Ryan Coogler definitely directed the first one. And
right.
I'm pretty sure, for some idiotic reason, Sylvester Stallone usurped him for the second one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, it's cool that he's getting his directorial debut. That's awesome. I'd like to see that. All right.
And I'd like to eventually get around to seeing the first two.
It actually gives me a reason to not remembering what's going on in the story. Now I'm kind of excited to see. Oh, I think they're having a kid. I think that's how the second one is going. I don't remember for sure.
Okay. I feel like he definitely had a kid or was going to have a kid, and that's just promotional material.
Right. I believe that was the second one. And there's like a whole thing, because his dad died in the ring. So it's like, don't go dying on the kid. Like, that's the whole story, I'm pretty sure. I think it's Creed 2, don't go dying in the ring. I think that's what it was called. Oh, man. I'm diminishing that movie, and I don't mean to. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it very much. All right. What else you got here? I have... Oh, would you like to hear what I'm watching and I'm not too fond of?
Yes. I'm
watching The Queen's Gambit.
Really? I've seen almost unanimous praise for that.
Same. Color me surprised. 4 episodes in, and I'm like, whatever. Like, just get to the end of this.
Wow. Isn't it only like 6 episodes?
It's 7.
Oh,
and yes, you are. And I'm just, it's fine. Like, I'm still watching it. I haven't turned it off. But I don't think I like it, though. I'm not really sure what it is that's drawing me to continue to watch it. Maybe it's so strange. Maybe that's why I'm hooked.
Well, the show is strange?
I think so. I'm
like
not sure. Uncertain. I don't know. I know that my feelings are not positive, and I know that I'm still watching it. Those are the 2 things I can tell you about The Queen's Gambit.
Is this like a train wreck situation where it's like...
No, I don't think so, because it's not like it's a poorly made movie or limited series or whatever it is. It's not that the acting's not bad. The writing is fine. Maybe chess is just not that interesting on the screen. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what it is.
It's funny because that's been like a common refrain among people who enjoy the show, is that you don't have to know anything about chess to enjoy the show.
No, you don't. But I'd be curious, like, if somebody's I feel like enjoy isn't the word that I would use if you really liked it.
Compelled.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, clearly you're compelled to continue watching, so.
Yeah, well, that's true. But why? I'm going to need you to watch 7 episodes of this. So. Yeah, you're going to have to watch 7 episodes of it, and then you tell me why I continue to watch it. Maybe I'll have an answer for you by the end. Let's check in in 2 weeks.
I just got to hold out for like another month when football will be over. Not that I'm looking for football to be over, but just for the perspective of catching up on the TV that I'm behind on. Just give me another month, and I will breeze through some shows.
Do you think, you know what, maybe, I'm wondering if maybe it was just overhyped.
It's possible.
Maybe everybody was saying it's like so good. Everybody's like, oh, you have to watch it. And I'm like, do I have to watch it?
You do have a little bit of a rebellious streak for stuff.
I think I'm too trusting. I believe you when you tell me that it's incredible. Or that I have to watch it. And I get excited. And then it's not.
Well, that's why I try to be judicious with what I pitch to you specifically.
I liked Dexter. You gave me Dexter. I liked Dexter.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like when I think about the things that I've really hyped to you. Like those have never let you down, have they? Like you love Cloud Atlas nearly as much as I do. Like
yeah, that's true.
That's true. Dexter a lot. You finally love What We Do in the Shadows. By the way, did you ever finish that?
I did not. I do need to. For no particular reason. It's great. I just didn't finish it.
I was just thinking about it earlier today, and I was like, Anthony never told me for sure whether he finished that or not. And the last time we talked about it was like a month ago.
Yeah, I did not. I go through phases of I don't watch a lot of television by myself.
Yeah.
So shows that I'm like The Boys, for example. I like cruised through the first season. I started watching the second season, which was starting off great, and then I just stopped watching it. And I don't know for no particular reason. I will go back and finish it at some point. I really want to watch Cobra Kai, but that's like 3 seasons of a show. I think that I have to start.
Well, the third season, did it just come out, or is it about to come out tomorrow?
I have no idea.
I think maybe tomorrow.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't watch a lot of TV on my
yesterday.
I feel like my on my own pastimes are video games and movies. And I watch TV mostly with Kim, and most of the movies I watch with Kim as well. So I'm not doing a lot of watching by myself. And she doesn't seem that interested in Cobra Kai. I think she tried to get into What We Do in the Shadows like once or twice. It hasn't stuck. And then the other show that I'm watching is Rebels, which I'm getting. I keep popping into here and there. I'm on like the 9th episode of the 4th season. Am I on the end? Is this the end of the show?
What's going on?
It feels like the end of the show is what's going on.
Well, I mean, more specific than that.
Hera and the squad of people are trying to blow up the TIE Defender base, the TIE Defender manufacturing plant. So they come burning through the atmosphere, and they're all exploding.
It's definitely coming up towards the end. But I'm jumbling the order of all things. Is everyone still around on the show?
Everyone's still around. It seems like somebody's leaving.
So
it seems like Freddy's going to eat it pretty soon, is really what I'm getting at.
You still have some time left in the show if everyone's still around.
Oh, okay. It's not like a finale thing where that character disappears on us? It's
not the finale.
Okay. I have a feeling it's going to be in this next episode that's up called Jedi Knight.
Don't you love when you watch a show like a year after it comes out or 3 years after it comes out and you get spoiler from titles of episodes and stuff?
Yeah.
So you said you're in season 4, episode 9?
I think it's 9, yeah.
Okay, so you have like a few more episodes.
And that's it, though? I'm on the last season?
Yeah, 15 is the last.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So it seems like that'll be wrapping
Actually, that makes sense. Wait, you watched 9 already, or you're up on 9?
I think I'm...
Oh, hey.
A wild Gary has joined.
Now, is he being heard if he decides to speak? Is he going to be heard on the Zencaster or no?
Oh, certainly not.
He's not there right now.
Not unless he joins the Zencaster.
Did you click on the link, Gary? Is it saying no period or no? It's just not letting you get in the session because we are already going and we're not 100% sure whether you can join mid-session.
I'm writing a note here. 46 minutes. Gary joins the show. Well, I'll wait until you're actually on the recording, because I'll have a couple questions for you that we'll want in the recording. So,
favorite Christmas.
And I want your answers on the fly. I don't want you to have time to think about them.
Wait, so Anthony, while Gary is figuring out his tech issues, or should we just leave this out? Is this all going to be in the show?
Debatable. It really depends on whether or not he's able to join into the call, like his recording come in. If not, then I have to stop it anyway, and it has to be edited. So,
well, anyway, I was going to ask: did you watch 9, or are you to be watching 9?
What's the title of 9?
Rebel Assault.
I think I watched 9.
Okay,
wait,
so
did I watch 9?
The reason that feels kind of like a finale is because that was like the pause.
Wait. It didn't seem like a finale. That was what I was saying. It was... Actually, did it feel like a finale? I don't really know. The next episode is called Jedi Knight. That's all I know.
Yeah, no, because the episode that you were talking about was like a pause before like a break for like the second half of the season.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I think Hera got captured or something like that. I don't really remember. I don't know if they got out of it in the
she
end.
definitely gets captured. You're right. This now sounds familiar to me.
Okay, cool.
So do you remember listening to like the podcasts with Amin and Freddie and stuff talking about Star Wars stuff?
I do. I don't remember specifics.
Okay.
I do know something happens to him. I just don't remember what.
I mean, something happens to anyone or everyone who's ever lived or whatever. But
sure. It's in the next episode. It's really what I want to know.
It's imminent.
It starts off and it just ends. Oh God! Why is it's like when you sign a character and you bring them back for the beginning of the next episode just to kill them off, and you're like, why did you even bother? Why just kill them at the end of the last one?
Oh, so The Walking Dead.
Right. That's a very Walking Dead thing to do. That's the whole, you know what, this character sucked the entire season. We're going to make you like him for 20 seconds. You like him? You like him? Dead.
Hey, remember that person who's literally only had 4 words on the whole show and you occasionally see him in the background? It's like, oh, hey, there's that extra again. Yeah. We're going to give him a feature episode and then also kill
we're going to name him and kill him.
The thing is, they could have done a so much better job of that if they would just give that person a feature episode and then kill them like 2 episodes later.
Sure.
Because they would keep you on your toes. Because like if they only did that 80% of the time, it would be like, oh, well, this person might die or they might stick around for a while. Oh, there goes another one. But maybe next time.
It got to the point where, like, because there were characters that I hated so much, where the writing was clearly going in the direction to make you like them, I would get excited that they were about to be killed off the show.
Well, that was the thing, is like it would get to the point now where it's like the second someone would have more than 2 lines in a scene who has never spoken before, it's like, why are we going through just get to the point where we show me how this person dies, because like let's not delude ourselves that you're going to be sticking around. What's the credits roll?
For sure.
The role of Gary will now be played by Gary.
Welcome, Gary, to episode 155. Right, Al? I got it this time.
Are you sure?
155 of Flix. I don't know anymore. 155 of Flix and the 6. This was Gary's idea. We were real shitty about it and didn't talk to him before we started the recording. So we actually began the recording with all of that stuff. Now we're going to catch Gary up to speed. So,
Gary, just so you know, you texted us the other day when the movie came out and you're like, hey, is anyone like what was everyone thinking about like Wonder Woman 84? I was like, oh yeah, we're doing it for the show. And you were like, no, like I've seen it. I want to talk about it. And then I totally forgot that conversation. We were about, 8 minutes into recording? And I was like, fuck, I forgot to invite Gary to the show. I was like, let me see if I can get him right now. And I texted you right then and there. And we're like, we're going to catch up live and see if we can get him on.
All right. So, Gary, to catch up really quickly, the things that Al and I have talked about so far, these are the questions that you need to answer. 1, how do you feel about things that are malt forward? Positive or negative?
Well, I just have to say, first of all, this podcast is good, but it could be better. But yes, malt forward, stouts good. Oh, stouts good. IPA's bad.
Okay. Salty or sweet things in your mouth?
Salty all the time.
What about specifically at the holidays?
What'd you say?
So what about specifically at the holidays?
Okay, specifically at the holidays.
Well, I guess still salty, so I could get like a.
Did you just say salty?
I had to catch up on the drinking as well as the podcast. But yes, the a little Christmas ham, always good.
Yes. What about John Ham?
Is that on the
Oh,
menu?
it's like you were here the whole time. This is fantastic.
This is
Okay.
amazing.
Wait, should we do the thread again?
No, please no.
Gary, I'm going to send you the thread so you're caught up.
So I guess final question. What is your favorite holiday treat?
This is a tough one. I think I'm just gonna go back to the Christmas ham if that counts. I mean, with leftovers.
Sure. You grabbing slices out of the fridge, like that kind of.
Yes, leftovers.
I was gonna say, does Christmas ham count as a Christmas treat?
No. What am I gonna do? Eat a candy? I guess the candy canes, but not the mint ones, like the ridiculous like rainbow ones that just taste like candy.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
You know,
the ones that should be wound up in a giant lollipop,
like the Willy Wonka ones.
Willie's sister Lily.
Lily Wonka, starring Johnny Depp.
It's always starting Johnny Depp.
Oh man. Okay. All right. A couple other things. Did you watch The Queen's Gambit?
No.
Okay. Do you want to?
I guess.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So we're in the same boat there.
Anthony's in progress, and he has the same opinion as you.
Yeah, that's right. That's how I feel about the rest of it. Do I want to watch the rest of it? I guess. All right. Coming to America 2. Sorry. Coming to America. How do you feel about that?
Sign me up. As long as Eddie's back, I'm in. Arsenio.
Yep, okay.
I mean, it's a classic.
They are back, and so are all of the characters from the barbershop, and they do not look like they've aged. That's where we landed on that. Pretty excited about it. All right, I think he's caught up.
Yeah, Gary, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Let's see here. I know silence is bad. I feel like there was something I just finished Fargo last week or the week before.
Al likes that.
Yeah, you know what? Technically, I haven't finished it still.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, I still have like one episode left.
Wow, the wrap-up episode, usually there's like a climax episode and a wrap-up episode, so not the best season.
I kind of like that formula.
Probably the worst of the 4 seasons, I would say.
Oh, what a ringing endorsement.
It was tough. I mean, I was promised Chris Rock and Timothy Olyphant and Jason Schwartzman, and it's got some highs, but it's pretty middling, and that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as good as the other seasons. I wouldn't say it was bad though. It's still been fun. I will say, Gary, I think the last thing that you did for the Spin Tune about 6 weeks ago or something like that was in progress to the season of Fargo, and you had some thoughts. And there was one that stuck out to me, and I know because I reached out to you and said something about it. There's definitely, I think, something to that fact about how the other 3 seasons were about people who you wouldn't necessarily have thought were bad per se to start, and you watched them kind of break bad, like reluctantly over the course of a season, and this one didn't really have that in the same way.
No, they're mostly just either good or bad the whole time. There are some flashes, like, is it Noah Hawley or it's the other guy? It's not Noah Hawley, is it?
It's Noah Hawley.
It is Noah Hawley. Okay. I mean, he knows how to write a character, but when you change the formula, when it's not about Lester Nygaard or what's season 2?
I definitely don't remember anyone's name.
if it's not like Lester Nygaard and all this stuff just happens to him and he just wants to live his life, but You know, I mean, his wife just drove him to a point where he snapped, and he gets to realize the reality of violence and how dark the world can be, you know, once you look outside your 9-to-5 job and getting beaten up by bullies and being abused by the world and start hitting back, and how you contribute to, you know, how the world can be a dark place, as opposed to, well, they're just mobsters and these guys are cops and these guys are mobsters and they've just been bad the whole time. And it kind of starts there with the child swap, but it doesn't do anything with the kids, really. Like, it tells the story of how, I don't know, I'm not going to get into spoilers or whatever, but it tells a story, but it just, I don't even know. It just goes, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I will say it kind of felt throughout, like, what's the point of all of this? Like, sure, there's things to
I don't like that.
Yeah, like, there's things to enjoy in it, and there are characters to enjoy, and there's certainly moments. But in the end, like, I never really felt like any of it mattered.
No. I mean, yeah, I mean, just, it does factual things. Like, you've seen up to this point, I think, that, like, Chris Rock's idea to start pretty much credit cards gets taken by white people in the banks. And it doesn't do anything with that. It's just, oh, this is just something that happened. Like, it wanted to do something interesting where he's a mobster that comes up with the idea for the credit cards and he should be rich. But no, that just gets taken from him in the story.
And then they just kind of leave it
yeah,
there.
The story
like,
moves
it's
on.
not like
it
a,
doesn't do
it
anything.
doesn't, like,
weird.
Like, yeah, because, like at that point, if your decision then is, you know, oh, let's burn down the establishment, let's, you know,
Or,
fine, we tried to go
Come
legit.
on, Pookie.
Yeah, no, we, you know, we tried to go legit, and instead you're, you know, throwing us back to the wolves, and we're gonna go full, like, criminality here at this point or whatever. Like, instead it's just kind of things happen.
Yeah, or some kind of patent, or he could have, like, proved that it was his idea, but no, it just abandons it. It's a lot of that for the whole season. Like, Orietta is this very interesting serial killer, but she's just a serial killer, and she, you know, faces consequences eventually. But she's a side character, so it really doesn't get into any of that. I mean, most of the characters are just like that. They show up, they face consequences, they're good or they're bad, and that's it. Like, it's very odd for a show that's usually so good at, like, telling a story and arcs, and there's just no arcs.
Was there ever a main character in this season?
I would say that it's Jason Schwartzman, but that's very debatable. It's like Jason Schwartzman and Chris Rock, I guess.
Because if you ask me, I would say, I don't know. It depends on, like, the episode. Is it Chris Rock? Is it Jason Schwartzman? Is it Ethelrita? Is it Orietta? Is it, I don't even know. Is it the fucking cop? Like, who is the main character?
Yeah, and I mean, you can do that. Like, you can tell a bunch of vignettes and tie them together, but, like, if it's not tied together well, or if it's just on its face, like, why am I watching this?
Again, rigging indoors.
Just
yeah, that
scathing.
doesn't sound. That sounds good. So you're saying I should watch the first 3 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, if we're
Got
going to do a quick ranking, I would go 1, 3, 2, 4.
It's weird. For some reason, I forget a lot of the details of season 2.
That's a lot of
But-
people's favorites, and
I enjoyed the season. I just, for some reason, I'm forgetting a lot of the details of it, which is weird.
that's true. I mean, when you finish this season, you're going to want to go back and look into some of that.
Well, I know it was obvious from the beginning when you hear the last name Milligan where that was going. So
Okay, so you know.
yeah,
Okay,
no, I mean I knew from the first fucking episode. Like,
fair enough.
Al,
yes.
do you have any more news and nuggets?
Well, I have a new, and I have what I've been watching.
Okay.
Specifically, I'll just drop off a note, and if you guys have thoughts on it, great. If not, that's okay too. I'll give you a quick blurb. But I watched the movie Klaus last week for the first time.
Oh, so did I.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Gary, have you seen this?
No, is this a Christmas Klaus? Is this a...
Yes.
It is.
I have no idea.
Did it come out last year, Anthony?
I
I think it was last year because I think it was nominated for an Oscar this past year.
Was it?
It's an animated
it was.
movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
2 years ago.
It's pretty recent though.
Yeah,
It was actually good.
I was whelmed.
You were properly whelmed.
Not properly. Not under. It was just it was fine.
So you were properly whelmed.
I didn't love it. I probably won't be watching like that every Christmas. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I actually liked it a lot. At first, I was kind of turned off by the very beginning of it. Just like didn't necessarily know if I loved the animation style. I was kind of confused as to what was going on. It was getting really creepy and then really depressing. And I was like, huh. Actually, I would say that this was the Christmas equivalent of how I experienced Silver Linings Playbook, where I was like, you're going to have to start digging me out of this hole pretty soon. Otherwise, I might not make it all the way through.
I totally get that, and I felt that way, which is like early on. I will say, I'm on the other side of it, where it's like the story to me was fine. I actually really liked the animation.
It grew on me once things start opening up, but at first I was kind of thrown by it.
Yeah, but no, it was fine. It was the first time I watched it. I intended to watch it a long time ago because a friend of mine is in the credits. I forgot what he was. It was like animation manager or something like that. I don't remember.
Great job.
But let's see if I can figure it out. It's just animation department. That's the role.
All right, everybody, keep drawing.
But yeah, I don't know. Just it wasn't. It's not. It's not going to be on my short list of Christmas movies. Is where I landed.
Okay.
But I did watch a lot of Christmas movies this year, and a handful of them did not fly with me. That was the least offensive of the ones I didn't care for. Have you ever watched, what is this one called? The Family Stone?
Yes. Wow, it's so weird how much this is brought up on... I listen to a lot of movie podcasts, and I mean... I just hear a lot about The Family Stone, and it's just not a movie I would think about like otherwise.
Is it brought up in a good way?
Kind of, yeah, in a weirdly positive way.
Oh, man. That movie is utter trash. I hated it. I really disliked it. The characters, they never develop the relationships between the characters. They kind of speed through it, so you never really get to care about anyone. The main character and the main romance is rapey at best. It's not. I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable. He seems aggressive. I don't like it.
It's not weird.
It's not a Christmas movie. I mean, it takes place during. It is a Christmas movie for that, but it's not a good movie. That's going to be a pass for me forever.
So it's funny. I've seen this like maybe twice, and not for many years. All I remember is that Luke Wilson gives somebody's kid weed or something. I think, or does that not happen?
That doesn't happen.
Does anybody smoke weed in that movie? Or
he smokes weed.
He smokes weed. Okay.
Yes. With the brother's girlfriend.
Oh, with the girlfriend. Okay, I thought it was somebody's kid. All right.
But anyway, that one, not a fan. I also watched Fred Claus. Also not a fan. There were only 3 duds for my holiday viewings, but it was the first time I saw Fred Claus also, and I was very underwhelmed. That was not. I won't be watching that one again.
I've never seen The Family Stone, though I have heard of it. I've never seen Fred Claus. I've definitely heard of that. I've just never had any.
If you're gonna see a Christmas movie with Vince Vaughn, 4 Christmases would be the way to go.
Yeah, okay.
I would choose that over Fred Claus easily.
It's funny because with 4 Christmases, periodically throughout like the holiday season, we've had the Christmas movies on in the background on TV, and frequently it's been on AMC, and they promote like the hell out of their Christmas movie lineup for the whole month of December, and heavily featured 4 Christmases in it every single time. And every single time it was on, my mom's like, I can't stand that movie.
Who's the female lead in Four Christmases?
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh,
Reese Witherspoon.
Okay.
Oh, rude.
That was a Family Guy joke.
I had a feeling it was.
They were breaking into Lois's dad's safe, and they're like, "Oh, this door is like unbreakable or something like that." And he goes, "Good thing I brought Reese Witherspoon's chin." And he reaches into the duffel bag and pulls out all of Reese Witherspoon by her head, and he cuts through the vault with her chin.
God, how ridiculous! That's so stupid. What you brought up, Klaus? Was that part of your new or what you're watching?
No, that was what I was watching. I watched it.
I watched. That's what I watched. All right. So give me your final new, because I do have a short fun and games for us to get to before our film.
Okay. That is if my browser will scroll. There we go. Class action suit filed for.
Did you say Klaus Actions?
No. Klaus Action lawsuit filed for CD Projekt Red investors over Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh no.
Yeah, that tracks.
The lawsuit has been filed, but courts may not let it proceed. A New York-based law firm has filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of investors of CD Projekt Red SA. The lawsuit by Rosen Law Firm is for damages to those who purchased securities in CD Projekt between January 16th of 2020 and December 17th of 2020, based on statements made by those associated with Cyberpunk 2077's development. Primarily, the suit alleges that false or misleading statements were made about Cyberpunk 2077, Jesus, I'm struggling with that, being playable on the current generation Xbox and PlayStation systems, the removal of Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store, and the offer of refunds by Sony, Microsoft, and CD Projekt Red.
We're losing them.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to read too fast. And CD Projekt Red are widely cited in business circles as the reason for a plunge in CD Projekt's stock price, despite its high sales numbers. In the weeks prior to Cyberpunk 2077's release, CD Projekt CEO said the game ran, quote, surprisingly well on the PS4 and Xbox One.
Surprisingly well.
It's important to note that this lawsuit has only been filed in U.S. courts. In order to proceed, the court must certify the class, indicating that this is a large group of people with similar claims who are eligible for a lawsuit. Rosen Law Firm is an international law firm that concentrates solely on class action suits against businesses on behalf of shareholders.
I can't tell right now if you're messing with me or not. Are you now saying class action, or is that just what I'm hearing?
Actually, I don't think that last one I did, but the other ones I did.
Okay.
The funny ones.
Per the law
ones that were
firms.
funny, I did.
Per the law firm's press release, this is their logic for the suit. 1, Cyberpunk 2077 was virtually unplayable on the current generation Xbox or PlayStation systems due to an enormous number of bugs. 2, as a result, Sony would remove Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store, and Sony, Microsoft, and CD Projekt would be forced to offer full refunds for the game. 3, consequently, CD Projekt would suffer reputational and pecuniary harm. I've never heard of that word before. And 4, as a result, defendants...
Could be a completely different story if it was peculiar harm.
Yeah. As a result, defendants' statements about its business operations and prospects were materially false and misleading and or lacked a reasonable basis at all relevant times. When the true details entered the market, the lawsuit claims that investors suffered damages.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, I remember, if you recall, I was saying when I was discussing with Brian a week or so ago that I imagine this is going to end in lawsuits. And
100%. Yep.
And this won't be the last of them either, because I imagine that there are going to be customers that sue as well. And I don't know if they'll have a better... The shareholders have a better chance, I would imagine, than customers, unfortunately.
We would see it that way.
Generally how it goes.
Yeah. But that's a shame. That whole thing it seems like a debacle. But what are you gonna do? Don't get your refund. Actually, it's too late now for anybody else to do that, right? Isn't the refund window over?
I believe so.
But that's lame. Are you still playing it?
Still in the sense that I haven't completed it. Yes.
Got it.
But also not in the sense that I haven't played it again since we last spoke about it.
I have not been playing it either. I'm just probably gonna wait for it to get revamped.
Well, that's part of it, but also it's just I haven't been super motivated, really to play anything. So,
yeah. Well, all right. Shall we get into some fun and games?
Yes, please.
All right. So, for fun and games, I have a little gem for you guys called. Sorry, it's taking a long time for the page to load. It's time to find out which character from the DC Extended Universe you are.
Yes.
All right. So,
can I just be Superman's non-existent mustache?
Yes. God, I hope one of the character is his mustache.
that would be such a great punk rock band name. Zombie Corpse.
All right, guys, pick a color: red, blue, black, gold, green, or yellow.
Green.
Red.
Okay. Pick a vacation spot: a beachside mansion, a luxury hotel in the city, countryside ranch, a French chalet. Is that
chalet?
Chalet.
It's not
a rented apartment in Greece.
I will take a beachside mansion.
I will also go beachside mansion.
Okay. How would your friends describe you? Mysterious, honest, energetic, kind, loyal, or strong?
Strong, I imagine.
Yes, Al. You serve. Kind.
Okay. Okay.
Pick
a snack.
I was going to say mysterious for Gary.
Mysterious.
Pizza, ice cream, apple pie, sushi, pretzel, or chicken wings. Some great options.
I had pizza for dinner, so let's go with that.
I am also going pizza.
Pick a hero from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man, Thor, Black Widow, Captain America, Captain Marvel, or Iron Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
What superpower would you love to have? Weather manipulation, super strength, flight, breathe underwater, super speed, money. Money is not a superpower.
Somebody hasn't seen Justice League.
I'm going to go with flight.
I'm going to go with weather manipulation.
Okay.
Now, does lassoing lightning count as weather manipulation?
Stop. What are the rules? All right. Pick an animal. Dolphin, cheetah, hyena, beagle, butterfly, kitten.
What's a cheetah?
Kitten.
All right. Pick a classic movie. Alien, Rocky, Star Wars, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Jaws, Jurassic Park.
I'm going to go with Last Crusade, but only because I watched parts of it twice in the same day the other day.
Nice.
Star Wars.
What is your dream job? Photographer, cartographer, financial analyst, archaeologist, police officer, full-time superhero.
Cartographer.
Photographer.
And finally, pick a band. The Beatles, Coldplay, One Direction, Journey, Queen, Do I Have to?
Ha! I didn't really love that list, but I'll go with Queen.
Coldplay, bro.
Ugh.
Okay. Interesting. You guys only deviated on like 3 questions, I think.
No, I think we only collaborated on like 2 or 3 questions.
No, the middle area of the quiz, I'm pretty sure you guys went with the same
thing.
We
went on a run there.
But anyway, Al, you've got... Al, you're Aquaman. Congrats, yes. You're Aquaman. You're
any strong... of my questions even like remotely connected?
The beach. It was just the beach.
Because I didn't pick breathe underwater.
You are a strong and fearless individual that also has a soft spot for your friends and family. Gary, you got Wonder Woman. Congrats.
Oh, yes,
you're Wonder Woman.
I'm the queen.
You're a wonderful and caring person that is never too busy to help a friend.
Wow.
Oh, how sweet. What do you say?
It's funny because as soon as I picked green, I just assumed I was going to be Green Lantern.
That's funny. He's not in the DCU.
Well, I guess not. Yeah.
What do you say we got into our flick of the week?
Yes.
Sure.
Wonder Woman 1984, released in 2020, rated PG-13, with a lengthy 2-hour and 31-minute runtime. Here's your IMDb synopsis. Rewind to the 1980s as Wonder Woman's next big screen. I feel like Al now. Next big screen adventure finds her facing two all-new foes, Max Lord and the Cheetah. Here's a question. I know we took off from making movies on account of we can't be around each other, but did people just stop writing plot synopsis on IMDb? Because that is really phoned in.
They socially distance themselves from clever writing.
They rightfully socially distance themselves from this movie, because that you wrote that from the trailer. that is a synopsis of the trailer. Let's kick this off with our tweet length reviews. Gary, I'd like to start with you. What do you got for us?
So Gal Gadot dazzles, and Pedro Pascal gives it all in Wonder Woman 1984. A fun film that's an adequate sequel to Wonder Woman and a good contribution to the DC Cinematic Universe.
Okay, and what the pause was the best part. What is the what's your score out of 10?
I'm going to give it a solid 7.
Okay, all right. Al, what do you got for us?
A colorful, crazy mess that can't figure out what it's trying to be minute to minute, let alone scene to scene. Fun, I guess? I don't know. I'll figure it out when the movie does. 6 out of 10.
Okay. The numbers are just going down. Wonder Woman 1984 was not released on a streaming service because of the state of the world in 2020. It was released on a streaming service because it couldn't be released straight to VHS. 4 out of 10.
Straight to VHS.
Hot mess is really how I felt about it. Okay. We've talked about this particular movie coming out over the episodes this year, as it was supposed to come out like way earlier in the year, and then later in the year, and then now. Originally, first trailer, okay, I was like, fine, sure. Second trailer, as you know, I wasn't thrilled with. I was like, oh, doesn't look great, and you were like, oh, they have to give us something fresh, and I was like,
What about the fifth trailer, though?
It's just the cheetah running. The fifth trailer was actually a trailer for Cats. It wasn't.
There's been a lot of Cats jokes on the internet the last few days.
Oh man, but the movie's clunky at best. I feel like it's weird. Like I think the acting is great. Well,
Pedro
sorry,
Pascal
Pedro Pascal is great. Everybody else is doing pretty good. I actually think the directing is very good. I think the writing is hot shit.
The writing and the editing are hot shit. Because I mean, listen, this one, if we're gonna grade on the scale of DCEU movies, this is from the makers of Aquaman, in which it is fun. Like, there are times when this movie is a lot of fun, but it is a mess. And I think there was a certain point when, and I don't know what that point was because of the editing, but where Pedro Pascal realized, oh wow, this ship is going down, and he's just decided, let me put this whole fucking Colossus on my back and just carry all of us to the promised land.
I mean, I don't think that ever happened. I think just from the onset, he just wanted to have fun. I mean, you guys say clunky, and we'll get to that, but it just kind of seemed like a genuine, if I picked up an issue of Wonder Woman, like a comic book, I could read this as a story and not and it's going to sound like I'm lowering the bar or setting a lower standard, but it just kind of seemed like a wacky kind of issue of Wonder Woman, where it's it doesn't all have to make sense. It's just, this is a weird world where magic exists and things can just kind of happen, and we don't need a great answer for everything. And I understand that doesn't excuse everything, and I have questions and things to say. I didn't give it a 10 myself, but
right.
No, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I do agree to some extent. My issue is, much like the synopsis writer, I don't know what this movie is about.
It's about the wishing well.
See, exactly.
That a guy drinks and becomes one.
Does he drink it?
No, it becomes dust.
He snorts it. Did he snort it?
Body.
Did he rip a line of wishing well?
Well, I was going to say, it is the 80s, and he is a pretty obvious Donald Trump stand-in, and you can pick your era as to which Donald Trump you're talking about. Obviously, he fits as the 80s version of it, but he can fit parts of it from today as well. And it's the 80s, so cocaine, yeah.
Yeah. Gary, I understand what you're saying about like yes, there are bits of it that feel like a random issue of a comic. That's fine. I do think that is lower in the bar for a movie that the standard should be higher. Especially I liked the first one a lot. I liked 80% of the first one a lot. And I was expecting more when I saw that. Like I said, when I saw the initial trailer for this, I was actually thinking like, okay, cool, I'm ready to do this again. And then when we saw what it was potentially going to be about, which I guess there really wasn't a hint of what it was actually about in the trailers, but as Al's saying, there really isn't one in the movie either. But I don't know. It's just I think I had a problem with. I could see like, oh, it's cool. Like we're going to do a bunch of shit with the lasso. Oh, it's cool. Let's introduce the invisible jet.
Yes,
but
that's cool. Who doesn't want that?
I'm actually okay with the invisible jet.
Tiara.
I want a
tiara.
Yeah, but like they just seem all like little shticks. Like they are one panel. They're like one page of panels in a comic book that are cool in a comic book, but it doesn't translate well to the screen.
Okay, those things are not negatives to me. Like those specific.
No, I didn't care for them. I thought that I felt that the writing around getting the invisible jet in there was just like, oh, you know what we didn't do in the first one? Let's put that in this one. And that's how it felt to me.
I understand that. I mean, I was a bit the opposite. So I wasn't super excited for Wonder. I mean, in the sense that we haven't had a comic book movie in a year or whatever. I mean, and now we're getting one. I was excited in that sense, but leading up to it, like, I just thought it'd be like, oh, it's the 80s, whatever. It's Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor's back for some reason. Fine. But then what you guys see as nonsensical things or weird choices, I just celebrate in the sense that they are weird. Like, at least this isn't Ant-Man and the Wasp, where it's like, you know, predictable and dumb. And like, I would never want to watch that movie again. I would rewatch Wonder Woman 84 for sure.
Wait, first of all, predictable, sure. Dumb? We're going to call that movie dumb and not this one?
Yeah, I'm on the other side of that one. I'll watch Ant-Man and the Wasp over and over again. I will not. It was fine.
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I would watch this one again, but I would not sit down for 150 minutes to watch the movie.
I'll watch clips of Pedro being Pedro.
Yeah, no, I would like. This would be like if it's on TV, I would throw it on while it's on. For sure. Yeah, no, I'm not going to. There are some things that were fun. But when I talk about issues with clunkiness and with editing and writing, like there were some very specifically obvious scenes that were like, oh, this whole scene was inserted in like a post-production like reshoot and rewrite.
Right.
Like, I guess we should just get to the spoilers now because anyone can access it for free on HBO Max. The one there's a few instances, but the one that stuck out to me that is the most obvious was when they re-announced the wish for Steve Trevor. That is so obviously part of reshoots because they couldn't get Chris Pine back on screen. Like, because he just disappears off screen. Like, she just runs away and he like shouts from off screen, and like he could do that on a phone booth, or not on a phone booth, in a recording booth for 30 seconds. And he just clearly was not going to come back on set. And not like acrimoniously or anything. It's just like, pandemic, don't have time to come back on set and do this. And so we get a shot of her running away from a wall and offline shouted, "I'll always love you, Diana," as he no longer exists anymore. Like, if that doesn't scream to you, this was reshot because we didn't like how we did it the first time, then I don't know what it is.
I mean, what did you think the original ending was? Like, I mean, that just, what I thought you were going to say was the ending part where it's Christmas time and she runs into the person that she had her way with against his will or without him knowing. And they just have like a weird little chat like that.
Well, that too, Gary. That one too. To me, it was just the most obvious overt one was the one with Chris Pine dying off screen. That one too. The scene and the voiceover when they just have an extreme close up of her leaning against the corner of a wall at the end when she's got him with the lasso of truth and she's telling him and the entire world about how like wishes and being the change you want to see in the world and all of those things. That's also very obviously inserted after reshoots. There was... Oh, the whole opening montage feels like it was tacked on. Like,
no, there's no way. That looked way better than the Themyscira stuff that we get in Justice League. Like, that looked finished. Like, Themyscira... And Themyscira looks better in Wonder Woman for sure. But the Justice League stuff, like, they went backwards. And, I mean, this looked finished. It looked good to me. And maybe it's just the experience. I just watched it. And we'll get to the experience and the expectations based on that, where it's like... I kind of felt like I wish I was watching this in a movie theater at times, for sure, where I was just watching it on my laptop at home.
Well, I will say some of the spectacle of that scene would have been cool on the big screen, for sure. But I don't know, that movie, that whole maybe saying the reshoot part of it for that one isn't totally fair. I don't actually know for sure, but just as far as this movie not knowing what it wants to be, that feels like it belongs to some whole separate...
That's true, yes. Story-wise, it doesn't tie in at all, and you're correct. But it was just cool to see buff girls doing sports. And I was like...
Oh my God. Well, during that opening sequence, I was starting to get a little nervous. I was like, wait a minute. Are we doing an origin again? Where is this going? Because I don't have time for this, and I was not thrilled about it. I will say one of the things I noted during that scene though is I know that at some point in my life I was a sucker for like the crazy spectacle of like doing wacky things on screen like that for no real reason. I just enjoyed watching them, and I think that time has just passed for me where I don't really care about that anymore.
Well, you
so that might have taken
for a year or two now.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it doesn't tie it. It looks finished. It looks good. I mean, she didn't learn, or she cheated, and you're not supposed to cheat, and there's no shortcuts, whatever. Like, I mean,
yeah, which I got the reference to that and all. It just didn't feel super smooth how they got from point A to point B on that.
Yeah, I was mostly bored for the first act of the movie.
I mean, well, yeah, let's call that, I guess, like the prologue kind of. Post-prologue, like the most of Act 1, super slow to start. And that's kind of what I was getting at as to why I'm not entirely sure what this movie is about, because in all of that, it just felt like things happening. Like, kind of, Gary, what we were talking about with Fargo earlier, like, some of the first act just feels like these are things that are happening. And, like, some of that you can chalk up to world building, and fair enough, but not all of it.
I just don't see this as a negative, but I just think it's interesting what this movie has time for. Now, the only stuff I would cut out, per se, is the Steve Trevor looks at planes for some reason for 5 minutes. That I didn't understand. But the rest of it, you got...
I mean, have you ever been to that museum? Because it is dope.
Actually, I think I went in middle school, actually. I'm not sure. Is the Wright brothers playing there?
Sweet.
I don't know.
Well, Gary, did you go to DC or not?
Yes, we went to DC.
Okay, then
yes,
you probably
I went
there.
But yeah, otherwise, like, it gets into a lot of stuff, and it doesn't all hit per se, but I just find it. I was along for the ride, like even the weird rapist guy in DC, and she saves Kristen Wiig. What I was nervous about actually was turning Kristen Wiig into Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the first 10 minutes of her on screen or whatever, where it's like,
I'm glad that I wasn't the only one who thought that, because I was watching that too when they were just showing her being an absolute klutz, and I'm like,
oh no.
Didn't this just happen a few years ago? Like, wasn't this just and I never even saw that movie. I was like, but isn't this the exact, like, plot line from Amazing Spider-Man 2?
What if she were to have gotten electrocuted and then a bunch of cats licked her, and that's how she became the cheetah?
Yes.
So we're gonna splice that with Catwoman, with Halle Berry's Catwoman. I mean, she does get electrocuted. Whoa. She does turn into a cat.
Not Halle Berry's. No, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Oh.
Also, Edward Nygma from Batman and Robin is a parallel as well. So that kind of predates all of those. But yeah, just weird nerd.
Yeah, but I don't know. I always thought that they did that story slightly.
Sure.
That felt like a real person.
Yes. It gets worse the more they do it.
No. Can we talk about? Okay, so the lesson learned in the opening American Gladiators, non-American Amazon Gladiators, I guess that's what we'll call it. The lesson learned there was no cheating, right? No cheating, no good.
No cheating, no Cheetos. Got it.
Is that no cheating, no Cheetos? Does that come into play in the story? Is that Pedro's cheating by the wishing?
Wishes,
is that
it's wishes are cheating?
Wishes are cheating?
Yes,
I think so.
Got it. Okay, cool. So we're all that's that. All right, as long as we're all on the same page, that I guess that's the connection.
Yes, loose.
Cool.
Though it may be, I believe that.
Was anybody else concerned? So okay, when first off, I'm jumping all over the place right now. Krista Wiig, electrocuted at the end, doesn't die. Did they rectify that? How did she pull her out afterwards, or was I rolling my eyes so heavily that I missed it?
Yeah, it's really weird because she says, "Don't make me do this. I'm sorry," and then what? You just
as she's electrocuted. I'm sorry.
Well, I was a little confused because she's like super strong and fast and all that now. So like, just did she wish to be Diana essentially? Like she basically comes out and says it later, even though she didn't say it during the wishing, which that feels.
But that was the first time.
But,
that was the first time, yeah. And then she has to be an apex predator, right?
Sure. My point was, why does the electricity affect her but not Diana?
Sure.
And then, but yeah, she does drag her out and just kind of leave her.
Oh, she did. I missed that. I think, like I said, I think
she's like writhing around on the ground.
Okay.
But also, I was like, so it seemed like the electricity being in the water and possibly drowning was going to kill her.
Right.
And then she just throws her on the ground.
Well, maybe she did drown and she did get electrocuted, and now she has 7 lives left?
Yes.
Well, again, this is kind of one where I think maybe like reshoots kind of comes up to it or whatever. That's more of a wild guess by me. That's not,
sure. You know, it wasn't. You know, it wasn't a reshoot, and it's something that we talked about earlier. Lassoing the lightning. That was clearly in there to begin with.
Yes.
What? It's like, this is gonna look awesome.
Well, it does though.
I couldn't get over the part that I was just like, I don't I had an issue with the lasso way early on, and now granted, this could be a thing that I'm just not familiar with its capabilities from the actual source material.
Now, are we talking about the lasso of truth or just lassos in general?
the lasso of truth, I guess. There's a point in the mall where she whips it around behind her, and there's 2 portions that whip around 2 other people.
Correct. I was also confused by the physics.
But she is still swinging of another portion in front of her. What are the rules?
It does seem to be a lasso of undefined length.
and dimensions.
I mean, if you have a problem with the lasso, then yeah, you're just gonna hate this movie. Like,
oh no, I didn't care about that. I generally kind of like the lasso.
I just think that there's a cool way to use it, but also I'm not saying grounded, but like a little bit more, maybe making the utility a little bit more predictable or understandable would help me a little bit.
I didn't think it was that bad. I think in the moment I was kind of like, what? And I'm usually the one who has issues with that, but in that case I would just kind of filed it under, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah,
okay. That's how I felt during that scene. But then other things happened, like the lightning. That was one.
Wasn't the lasso given to her by Zeus, and Zeus is her dad and all that, so lightning, yeah, sure, why not?
Sure, that's cool. Okay, how about this one? Flying? She tries to get him with the... Oh, we'll get there. She tries to get him with the lasso when he's in his vortex of dreams, whatever's going on there, his wishes. And it so clearly gets flung away by the wind, but then later on it's around his ankle. Like that.
You do recall that I said that was part of the reshoot part, right?
Oh, okay, that's what you meant was the fact that it's just around his ankle now?
Well, because that's when she starts doing that whole voiceover narration.
Yeah, that's true. That was weird. I didn't like that. She can fly now.
She flies now? Was she able to...
She flies now.
What was that? When was that?
It's after Steve dies again.
Yes.
Okay. She can fly in Justice League?
Kind of. No. She jumps really far after she finds the files.
Right.
Basically a turkey.
Okay. So, but she can fly in 1984.
If
Correct.
she has the right wind currents and she's already really high up in the air, I guess.
So, something about lift.
Yes.
And if she makes her face a little bit more angry, she goes faster. Kind of like Superman.
Oh, I thought this was more of like a Peter Pan thing where you have to believe.
Oh, are we back on the dreams and the wishes again?
Oh my god, I just thought of, I don't know, Gary, I guess you would be more likely to have seen it, but not to say that you wouldn't have. Did either of you guys watch Blue Mountain State?
No.
No.
Okay, so there's one of the characters who was on the football team, and he starts up like a radio show. Actually, it might have even been like a public access TV show, I forget. And he was the quarterback. He was a ridiculous character during like one of the seasons. And his show was called Dreams, and all of the transitions with him going, dreams. And every time you bring up wishes or dreams, I keep thinking of that for some reason.
Another thing that bothered me early on in the movie, and I don't know if this was the same in the first one, but what accent is being used when they're Robin Wright's character? What accent is that supposed to be?
You know.
Wait, who's
for those of you listening, Al just waved his hands.
Wait, are you asking who Robin Wright the person was, or who the character was? Robin Wright is Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Okay.
The princess from The Princess Bride.
And
right.
She's Diana's mom or the one who trains her?
Aunt, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
Strong woman accent.
No, not South Park.
Yes.
Not Strong Woman.
But like it was almost like a Russian, Ukrainian like kind of accent, and that's what was confusing.
I could see Middle Eastern, like, yeah,
and
not Middle Eastern, Eastern European.
Sure, that's
totally,
it. No,
totally.
But it was like, why? Like that was a choice that was made for this character in this land that is fake, and
Also,
like you're using
the same as the first one.
That's what my real question is, because I don't remember having a problem with this the first time.
My answer is also I don't remember. I feel like she was doing a voice in the first one, but I feel like it was less pronounced. I don't know.
Sure. Man, I'm exhausted thinking about this movie. I was really not into it. I know that you guys seem to have liked it a little bit more than I did.
More fights.
Gary liked it. I'm glad that you liked it. I would much prefer people to enjoy the movies.
Let's talk about something that was pretty much unrelentingly positive. Let's talk about
the king.
Yeah. He really is great. He's just crushing it, isn't he?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Although I was really thrown off by him not having a mustache in this.
Mm-hmm.
Just generally. Like, it's not a problem.
What if
they
had edited it out? That would have been great continuity. If they just
it would have been better if they edited this one back in.
But it's the one they took off Henry Cavill.
Someone just used like a snipping tool and just cut it off his face like that.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit crooked.
Oh my goodness, that would be fantastic. But no, he is he's going hard with material that was not great. I thought he was giving it his all. And I love his little his kind of psychotic play on the character, though he was crushing it. He's very believable for a ridiculous role.
Do the thing. Life is good, but it could be better.
Yeah.
It's the turn and the extending of the hand that gets me every time, because he does it the exact same way each time.
He just seems to be having so much fun. That's the
cocaine.
That is the cocaine. The cocaine. Because he ground the wishing stone down into a powder and then just ripped it.
Now I'm just thinking of the Family Guy where Chester Cheetah snorts the
the
Cheetos.
Definitely,
it ain't easy being cheesy.
in a movie where I didn't really care about anything, when he is saying shitty things like how many weekends are my weekend or whatever that line is, and his kid's silhouette is behind the glass, I was like, ooh. I was like, oh, I care about this one scene.
Yeah, I felt that one. That was a little
that was rough.
That's really the only. It feels like that's really the only times where it's like I cared. Because, like, as much as I like Diana overall, like, she's, like, not an unlikable character, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I like Gal Gadot's portrayal of it.
Who?
Like, I don't really care. Like, we know he's dead and he's not coming back. And, like, it's kind of cruel to have her go through all of that, which is why it makes it all, like, her really snap at the end. And, like, she could have gone full dark side and she doesn't. But then also she doesn't. She electrocutes her friend. So, I don't know. Like, it's just hard to get super... Maybe it's because he's human and as, like, shitty as he is, like, and certainly becomes worse as the time goes on. Like, I do feel like there is kind of a person in there.
Right.
And certainly his son, like, doesn't know better. And, like, it's like, oh, that poor kid. Like, he just has no idea what he's caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to care about the rest of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the one other bit of clunkiness, when he does go to get his son back, and he just takes a chopper somewhere and starts yelling for him, and that was the mode of finding his son.
That's true. I think the last
I was a little confused.
Who then comes running out of the bushes.
Well, I just assumed the lasso of truth showed him the truth of where the kid was, so he knew where to
look. Yeah, but by the time he got into the helicopter and then took the helicopter to that location and then got off the helicopter, like, he's not there anymore. And clearly he wasn't, but he was just hiding in the bushes.
Well, I'm sure the helicopter is faster than a small child.
Sure. Sure.
Science.
Also, like, you know, I kind of want to care about the Kristen Wiig character whose name I'm totally forgetting. And,
Barbara something.
Was it, like, Barbara Minerva?
Yeah. Barbara Minerva, which... Also, do not love the two first names.
No, not a fan.
But Barbara. That actually was a character that, like, I could have cared about. Mm-hmm. Could have. But ultimately I don't, because she never actually embraces the whole idea of losing her humanity.
That's true.
Yeah, I think they should have... honestly... They just took her a little too far with the whole cheetah outfit. I actually think that it could have played off a little bit better if I think she did great up until she became a cast member from Cats. Yes. And I think that they could have done the more subtle thing. I know, like, in the DC movies, they're okay with going a little bit more over the top, making the person look like the actual, like look like a comic book character, right? Like, giving them the fur, all that. But I think it could have been cool, like, if it was just like the spotted pants, like, that she didn't actually turn into a cat, but she was just so nimble and balanced and, like, everything. Like, I think that could have been a cool play on the character and let her stay a little bit more grounded, because then you could just, like, sit with her personality. Like, yeah, it makes sense that she would snap. But within the first 30 minutes of the movie, I was like, if you don't become the villain, something's wrong, because you should snap and kill all of these people. They suck.
Well, sure, but the thing is, like, you kind of see her being dug out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, well, she had already made the list. She had already made the wish at that point. But yeah, I don't, like, because, like, it was obvious to me. Well, it was funny. The first time when she makes the wish, I'm like, okay, like, so what is she gonna lose? I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you start to see it, and I was like, okay, so she's losing the whole, like, kindness, humanity thing. And then Diana comes out and says it. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess I was right. Nice. And then that's it. We never really get an opportunity for her to interrogate that.
Yeah.
Like. And I guess she renounces it because she survives, but, like, there's not even any moment in there for, like, introspection. And, like, if there was going to be, even Max gets an opportunity to do it. Like, like, I don't fully buy it. And I mean, I imagine there'll be consequences for him. Like, there certainly should be, but, like,
yeah.
Like, he at least gets an opportunity to interrogate his own failings and try to at least say he's going to do better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, shows it in the moment with, like reclaiming his son. But with Barbara, like, you don't really get that. And it's like, oh, like, that feels like a missed opportunity, because, like, there was a kernel of something there for the character early on.
I guess. I think that just makes her a better villain.
I'm with you. Speaking of Max going nuts, I liked one thing that I did like about this was how rapidly it's escalating. Like, it's exponentially getting crazier and crazier, because he's, like, starting to deteriorate as it's going on. And, like, just the way that it goes from, like, one little, like, financial wish to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to, like, him, like, bursting into the White House, taking the Secret Service, and then using this ridiculous tool to broadcast. That whole thing of, like, so these particles, they're touching people? Like, that whole thing was a little weird.
Yeah, no, but actually for me, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a nice little eureka moment. I'm glad we finally got Gary back because this is kind of a moment where I think we're actually going to talk about this in a fairly positive light. I actually thought the whole like cascading, spiraling, oh my god, he's just going nuts and the wishes are going nuts and the world's going crazy and we lost Gary again. That I thought was like unequivocally the best sequence of the movie. Like,
yeah,
because they lead into the whole chaos aspect of like in like the meta perspective, like this movie is chaotic, and like what's going on screen is. I thought that was actually really compelling. Is like you're seeing the acceleration happen, and that freneticness and that messiness could have been like detracting from what's going on, but I actually thought it enhanced it.
Right.
Like I felt the stakes of, oh god, like every time like it seems like they're kind of caught up to him, he's like 5 more steps ahead of them, and like I felt that in like a really like actually like satisfactory way.
Yeah, I'm with you. That portion of it was pretty cool. I will say part of me was wondering like early on, like or like during my viewing of it, when Maxwell is in that whatever that like that tube of air, I guess, when he's giving out all the wishes and like he's surrounded and the whip can't get him, the lasso can't get him because like there's all that wind. I'm like, is it just because like every time that he granted one wish there was a little bit of wind? So now that he was granting a bajillion of them, there was a lot of wind. Is that what was going on there? Yeah, a tornado that was surrounding him.
Yeah, because we saw that we see it accelerate at the beginning of the process when he's giving the broadcast, and then it gets to a fever pitch by the end because everyone's wishing around the world, which it was kind of cool too to like visually represent that.
There was also one portion of that I was like, I was waiting for when we start to pan out, we're going to show everybody that like we're going to get to everybody making their wishes. I was like, somebody's going to be like, I wish you were dead, and within like a split second, it happens. I was like, oh.
I mean, that's just classic DC. You know, we're doing a thing. We're showing the world. That's clunky. That's what they're bad at, is showing like humans that are just out in the world. But when they're on the superheroes and the villains, it's obviously better. It's like the Justice League family that's at a farm or whatever, and they're trying to stop the parademons. And then just going back to the Barbara stuff, like with her doubling down and never really. I mean, she does renounce her wish, I guess. Eventually, it does. Does it cut back to her in human form? I forget. It does.
It does.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying. I don't know if you heard us while you were having your technical difficulties. I was saying that part feels like a missed opportunity to me. But yeah, no, because she like, I don't want to say she's like looking up at like the moonlight or something like that, and she like turns back into a human. I'm pretty sure.
Right. So. I just think that means that you know, she just doesn't like Diana. Like she's probably going to come back, obviously, in some way. I do have more of a hard out than you guys, and I do want you guys to get to Mando talk. So, I mean, my main problem is easily the third act, but the problem with the first Wonder Woman movie is the third act with the big CGI nonsense. So, like, they're just not great in different ways. An attempt was made.
At least they went smaller.
Absolutely. And just the fact, like, the device of being able to renounce your wish is stupid. Like, there should be real consequences. I enjoyed more the journey there, but yeah, I thought there was going to be a scene of her, like, impaling Pedro Pascal and him, like, bleeding from his eyes or whatever. And that just didn't happen. And maybe it tried to wrap everything up too neatly. What'd you guys think about the post-credits?
I mean, it was a fun little thing. It seemed obvious that that's what they were setting up when they showed the little flashback where they only show, was it Asteria or whatever her name is? Like, they basically only show her eyes, and it was like, oh, is this finally where they're going to show the little like nod to Linda Carter or whatever? So like, that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Did they do something like that in the previous movie in a post credit? Did they nod to her once before in one of these movies? Not necessarily Wonder Woman, but maybe Justice League or something else.
I don't remember actually.
No. For some reason, I thought they did, so I wasn't. When it happened, I was like, "Oh, we're just doing this again." But I guess I just made that up, and I miss out on that because of my own random thing that I put in my head.
True. I was disappointed they didn't do more DCEU stuff. Like, Shazam with the ending, and it's not a post-credits, but it's the ending, and I mean, that's Henry Cavill's Superman suit, obviously, that shows up headless.
Well, I still think they don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, do something. Like, show Lex Luthor on the boat with Deathstroke still, and they don't know, like, maybe Brainiac's there now or something. And they're just...
I think it would have been funny if they just did the exact same scene again.
Yes, absolutely. That would be hilarious. I would love that. And then otherwise, I was just thinking, like, where's Superman? So Superman's not on Earth at this point, I think, or he's a baby still in 1984. And then Batman is a little older, so he'd probably just be a little kid. So I don't know. I mean, when I get one of these movies and it's good, like a Shazam, you know, I just want more stuff. It just makes me want more DCU connected stuff. And I mean, it usually fails on that.
But what's the deal with that, though? I thought they were no longer going to keep them connected.
I thought so too, but it still seems like they're doing some sort of Flashpoint thing, which is obviously going to bring them in. But then also the guy who played Cyborg is still actively like suing the company, and there was actually just some story online today about him continuing his active fight with like the president or CEO or whoever of DC Films, like, which that whole story is super weird. I still don't understand it. I'm sure if I spent more time, I would probably be able to understand it, but I don't care enough.
I just, it's unfortunate, this whole thing, because I feel like they keep trying to make this universe like it's kind of dragging, like they're like trying to keep it alive, but it's not working. It's like they're dragging it through it's like the 9 Lives thing with Peter and the cat. That's what it feels like to me at this
Peter,
point.
stop doing what you're doing.
Well, we lost Gary, but much like this movie, we will stitch it together in post.
It's actually perfect. Gary's still alive. He did text me, but he is no longer capable of sustaining internet connection to this call.
Right.
So we bid you adieu, Gary. Thank you for your contributions, and also extending our recording time by approximately 1 hour.
That's right.
That being said, I had one other thing I wanted to discuss.
Sure.
And that was the mechanics of the wishes. Now, I messaged you yesterday. It seemed like you were at least a half an hour before me. Maybe. Well, actually, no. You were probably a couple hours ahead of me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I was done with it before you started, or like around when you started.
Okay. So you texted me, what are the rules? Now, was that generally speaking? Because eventually I texted you back and I said, was it the wishes? It was the wishes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. The lasso was really a showstopper for me. I was not having the lasso.
The lasso really didn't offend me. Because at this point, it's just like, yeah, no, the lasso, okay. Like, it's whatever. Like, it's not offensive. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, I was with you too. It's like, well, like, lightning's not tangible. But you know what? Neither is that lasso. Like, it's not real. So, whatever.
Sure. It's still no.
Sure. Anyway, because actually, what I, like, as soon as they started doing the wishes thing, I was like, oh, he's got to be talking about the wishes. And then they started getting confusing, and I was like, oh, he definitely means the wishes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think I actually got to a point where I did understand them, so...
Well, I think it was funny that, like, we didn't even touch on the fact that, like, it's not explained at all, which I guess is fine. Like, I don't need it to be spoon-fed to me, but in a, like, it's... You can make the wish, and then all of a sudden it means he also gets something. Like, that whole thing is what didn't... Like, that was not explained.
So that's what was confusing me as well at first, because I was like... Because at first I was like, oh, he wants to become the thing, so does he just get to wish at will? And then it's, oh, he's got to trick people into wishing on his behalf. That's cool. I actually liked that mechanic a lot. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so then he does the thing where you're like, you know, what do you want? And they make the wish. He goes, okay, in return, I want all of the oil and this and that. And he just walks away. And I was like, wait, that's not how it works. Like, you didn't even say I wish. Like, whatever. Until I realized, oh, it was actually kind of a subtle, I thought, clever kind of thing. Whereas, remember, the whole principle behind the monkey's paw thing, right, is that you wish for something and it takes something that's most important to you.
Right.
Because he is the wishing stone now, he gets to set the terms.
Right. Which is actually the most clever bit of the lore that's in this movie, and it's the most ham-handed thing that they do.
Well, they didn't explain it, which is why it took me a while until like finally like it like clicked for me. Well, you know what it was? Is it clicked for me when they really started to define. Because remember when they like said, "Oh, the monkey's paw," like because at that point we don't know Diana's losing her powers, we don't know Barbara's losing her humanity. So it's like, oh, and then even the most subtle of them all, and I guess that's all of the Max stuff is we don't realize at that point that he's losing his health, which is the thing. Because I just assumed like, oh, he's going to lose his son. Mm-hmm. And then you start to see his health decline. And I was like, oh, duh, the supplements and the shakes and all that. His health is the thing that he actually cares about the most, which is actually kind of really fucked up because his son, he really doesn't care.
Right.
Until the very end, I guess, which was the whole point of rectifying all that and stuff like that. Regardless, it was around the time where I finally realized, oh, they're clearly defining what will be lost by the characters who have made their wishes already. And, oh, he gets to change the rules because he's the stone now. He gets to set the terms of the deal. It kind of reminded me of Bedazzled a little bit.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that was really cool, and I thought it was subtle. And I think actually to a certain point I preferred that they didn't, because there was enough exposition in this movie to have another thing where, someone, oh my gosh, because he told them what he wanted, that's what he gets out of the deal. Like I think that would have made this already clunky movie unwatchable, actually.
That bit of it was cool to piece together after the fact, but I don't know. It just. I was very underwhelmed. Did not care for. I just really didn't care for the movie at all. I wasn't enjoying my time with it.
It was definitely too long. Don't get me wrong, but the parts that were good, I enjoyed. It's just that it wasn't the whole movie that was that.
Yeah,
so.
But I do think it's an interesting thing though, because for me it was solely. Not solely. I guess it was the writing and, like you said, the editing. Those are the two things that really tanked it. Like.
It's funny because that's how you know how egregious it is, because I don't really typically take that much note of it because I'm not an expert in filmography,
right,
or symbology or
namiology
or cinematography. So, but it was very obvious to me. It was like I said, specifically some of those scenes where it's like, oh wow, no movie has ever been made like that before. Oh, it's because they didn't have a choice. That's how they had to do it.
Yeah, that was weird.
But I actually kind of like the wish thing overall. I thought that was kind of cool.
That was fine. Oh, one more bit. This whole thing with well, first off, I do think it's funny that both the MCU and DCEU have a Chris Steve, and the MCU Chris Steve is just a better character. But I think Chris Pine was having a lot of fun. He seemed like he was enjoying himself, like
yes.
in the movie.
He got less time to show that off than Pedro Pascal,
right? And
also generally played a slightly more subtle character.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of his heights were also pretty manic and ridiculous, but like certainly not all of it. So it was a little bit more restrained and so less overtly obvious at the beginning. But I agree, it did look like he was like the montage where they're showing like him trying on the different clothes and just figuring out 1980s stuff was pretty entertaining.
It was silly, yeah. I think my favorite scene of that, my favorite bit involved in there, which was also in the trailer, was her saying all of this is art, and him looking at the garbage can.
Yeah,
I thought that was really silly. One thing that I wasn't understanding was when he looks in the mirror, he sees the other guy. Does she actually see him?
No.
So this is really stupid. Like, it feels like we shouldn't have seen him either. like it should have been the other actor.
The whole point of having Chris Pine in the movie. So, and it would have been more distracting if they continued to do the dub, because they do it for like the one quick line where they dub his voice over the other guys, and like you can do that for the one. That would have been obnoxious if they just voiced over Chris Pine.
Oh, I don't even need voiceover. I mean, like, let it be another actor and actually just heavily insinuate that it's the soul of this other person in it. And, like...
Yeah, the problem is, like I already said, like, it's kind of hard to connect to her emotionally for the audience, and it would have been even more impossible to do it with this other actor. And who knows, maybe that's the only reason Chris Pine's in the movie, was they might have shot a couple of scenes and been like, this is not working.
Oh, maybe. Could be. Oh, anyway.
I will say, though, as far as the whole wishing thing goes, though, that wish confused me the most because it's the only time that we saw that there was like something else that had to happen to make the wish. Like, why was it not just him? Why did he take over the body of someone else? That's actually really the only wish or rule that makes no sense at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what the hell? That is very strange.
Right?
Yeah. Of all of the things that bothered me, that I didn't even piece
There's no reason for that to be the case.
I almost forgot to ask that question because it wasn't the other actor the whole time. It was Chris Pine, so I forgot about that other guy for a bit. Until the really awkward zero chemistry scene at the end, which maybe to your point, was that they couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, any other closing thoughts on this one?
I did kind of dig the overall 80s vibe and music and like synth and like I think Hans Zimmer enjoyed going back to his roots a little bit with that.
Sure. And you gotta love the scenes in going in an arcade. I loved the mall. I liked the mall. Like going through a mall in that time, that was fun.
Actually, generally speaking, I don't consider this sort of thing too much, but like set design and like costumes for this movie actually legitimately has like a reason to like be like noted. Like they felt distinctly 80s. Like they pretty knocked it out of the park with all that.
Yeah, it was definitely you could tell a fan of movies of the time also had their hand in it. Like it did feel like, I mean, it looks, it's very polished, like visually, like in that it looks like a movie made today, but it does have it feels like an 80s movies in a lot of ways. There was even from the beginning with the way certain things were shot, and that's kind of where it comes down to, like, where I have no problem with the directing in this movie. I actually think the directing is on point, and I think the cinematography, for the most part, when it's actually cinematography, is also on point. But it's the writing and the editing that just tank it. It brings the whole thing down. It is far less than the sum of its parts.
I'm curious to see after this movie, like, what comes up. Not like in the sense of like it being in jeopardy or any way, sort of like that's not what I mean. Just like because I think these two movies are the only Patty Jenkins movies I've seen. I'm curious to see where the Rogue Squadron Star Wars movie goes with her at the helm.
I think it has a chance to be really good in that she'll be working with a studio of support and not let's set everything on fire. Or
certainly at least one that tries to, I don't know, they haven't always succeeded, but they've tried to approach a certain level of stability. Mm-hmm. And so I hope that means that they just give her writers that she trusts and can work with.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what she does with that. I think it'll be good. Well, that's all for this week's episode of Flix in a Six. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have a movie for us to review or nuggets for us to discuss, you can send those requests to flixinasix@thespinjune.com or tweet us at thespinjune. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
And I'm Mal Bielsi. And also there was Gary.
Thanks for coming out. Mando Watch. So, Al, we've reached the end. It's it was 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks, depending on how editing this goes.
Yeah, we were talking tough early in the episode. This is definitely going to air on January 1st. Now, right. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. January 1st, 2022.
Is this going to become one of the lost episodes?
Yeah.
Remember that, like, way back, like, at the beginning of the show when you said there was going to be lost episodes?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, did we only have the finale, or did we? I forget. Did we do the second? Because it does feel like a long time.
It was. That's a great question. What was the episode before the finale? What happened there?
Oh yeah, actually, so yeah, it has to be the finale because the one before that was the one with Mayfeld, and we talked about that one.
Right. Yes, we did talk about that one. Okay, cool. So it is just the finale. I will say going in, so obviously, spoilers for the end of The Mandalorian, but if you're this far in this show, you've watched it. The first thing that happened was I saw a post from Kevin Smith with him crying, and it was in reference to having just watched the season finale. And I was like, I've read it. I saw that. I didn't read the whole thing because it seemed like it was going to start to go somewhere. I didn't want to hear or know anything that was going to happen in the episode. But I was like, at this point, Kevin Smith crying over something like that is not news, and I get it. I'm with you. It's great. But it's not going to be like, I don't think it's going to be like the best thing because he's easily set off these days. It seems like, which is again no problem there. Just that I don't know that it carries much weight. I was like, I don't think I'm going to be brought to tears. I don't think that's what's going to happen when I watch it. So I'm watching the show, and it seems like all is lost, and that X-Wing flies into frame via the security camera, and I feel tingles all over because I know where this is going. And then you see the hooded figure. I was like, this is so cool. And as it's happening, it's going on and on and on, a little bit here, a little bit there, right? So X-Wing comes in, black and white, can't really see too much. Can't be certain, but I have a strong feeling of where this is going. Then we see the robes, and it's looking pretty good. Then we see color, and it's a green lightsaber, and like, oh boy. And then, this was the most subtle thing that this is the thing that really got me where I went, was when he moved his arm, and the robe slightly opened, and he had that ridiculous silver belt buckle, and I was like, it's him!
Not the gloved hand?
No, Star Wars. Could be anybody. Everybody loses hands.
Not every... Again, specifically Skywalker's. But no, his gloved right hand.
I know, but there was just something about that, and it was the belt buckle that really did it. And then when they finally show up, well, actually, what I was the way that it was done with the hood over and I thought okay, I just felt like I thought they were gonna leave it at that. The fact that they pulled the hood down was really exciting to me, and I was like, I did not. If we were to have talked about this previously and been like, I would not have wanted it to be him. But for some reason, the way that it played off and the way that they did it, I really liked it. And I was so blown away when it happened. I was like, I don't know what's going on inside of my head right now and emotionally, but I am really attached to this. I really pulled on those nostalgia strings hard in that scene, and it worked.
Well, I don't remember for sure. I'm guessing we probably mentioned it in the last episode, but I know we talked about it at some point in the last couple of episodes. I said that I didn't want it to be Luke because I didn't think it made a whole lot of sense. I think it just puts really severe limitations on where the storytelling can go in regards to this. That being said, if you throw this out the window, it's like, no, it has to be Luke. Okay, fine. Disagree, but sure, that's what you've decided, so here we are. That was a really cool way to do it.
Yeah. I thought it was so awesome. But I guess, does it really back it into, like, what does it limit, though? We don't know anything more about the story of Grogu or where he'll go. Or just that he's gone. He's either gone from the temple when Kylo destroys it, or he's one of the Knights of Ren. He's taken one of their armies. I
noticed, considering none of the Knights of Ren was
in like a mech suit or something.
Yes, because either he has to be at the temple and he's died, and so that puts a really hard endpoint on his story, or it doesn't break it per se, but it strains the credibility slightly of the timeline of the story of Luke talking about setting up the training temple and losing. Like it feels like the first real apprentice that he has is Ben. And this says nope.
Well, I feel like there's a chance that maybe he will connect him with somebody else. Like I don't think that he's going to be training him.
I suppose so, but if that's the case, why couldn't Luke show up with the person he's going to connect him with?
Well, maybe they want us to tell you that there's still going to be more to his story, and they were ready to reintroduce him now as an exciting piece, but they're not ready to disclose some of the other story.
I like that less. I like that less. I'm done with Luke on the screen. Not because I don't like the character. I'm just done with Luke on the screen. Like, it's been done.
It's over.
This will be the final chapter in the story of Skywalker. Fuck, you guys are the ones who wanted to yank it back from, we're going to go super safe and this and that, and you put in the fucking trailer. This will be the final chapter in the story of Skywalker. It's done. If you insist on continuing to tell stories about it, do it in other mediums. You can write comics, you can write novels, you can write fucking a saga of novels about him. I might even be interested in reading them. I have no issue with that in any way, shape, or form. I'm done with him on movies and TV. It's just time to put that character to rest and do something.
If you're okay with it being on in comics and like novels and stuff like that, I feel like it can also be in TV.
No, because it sucks the air out of the room for everything else. It literally sucks the money out of the room for everything else.
I won't argue with that. That's true. That was an expensive thing to shoot. For me though, it worked. It really landed. I was so excited when I watched it. I thought I didn't. If you had told me that was going to happen, I don't think I would have. I can't imagine I would have been that excited just like hearing about it. But seeing it and the way that it unveiled, I was blown away.
Sure, it was great to watch. My issue is that upon reflection, I feel the same way I did about this specific. Now, admittedly, this is one specific small choice on this show that now they're going to leave and like they're not going to be part of the show for at least a while, probably. And who knows? Maybe they have a spin-off show. I've heard that the heavy rumor that that's the case. I'm hoping it's not because for one, I don't think you can sustain what they did for a whole show with like the CGI and all that. And I honestly don't want them to recast Luke. They've had their issues with that. Really, the only one that's worked with is Obi-Wan. So I'd rather them just leave it alone. If they have to bring him back for a moment as he passes Grogu back or passes him on to his next full-time mentor, and if we're going to do one... Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, to me, it's always like, oh, like, you had a master or whatever. But if you think back to the old, like, to the Republic times, right? Like, Master Yoda would train every single one of them at some point in their life, and then he would pass them off to their full-time apprentice. So if that's the idea is Luke's going to give him the basics and this and that, and then set him up with a more full-time mentor who's someone else, I'm okay with that because you can have him for 2 seconds. You could have him in one episode, and that's fine. I can live with that. When I say like I'm done with him, like if he shows up for an episode, that's okay. But to me, I felt a lot in the same way that this does with this story, than the same way that I felt with episode 7, where it's like when I watched episode 7, it's like, oh, that was really good. Like we were excited about it. It was cool. Upon further reflection, you think about it, it's like, oh, like there are some serious caps on what you can do because you've decided to do this.
Yeah, I feel like it will probably be more of like a handoff situation, and it was just for the fun of having him in there. And I'm fine with that, and I like that. I'm not as adamant about him not being in like future stuff like within this time frame, as they like tell some of that story here and there. Not in this show though. I don't want it to be part of this show. If it's in something else or if it's like told through other stories, that's great too. I actually kind of liked I'm kind of like I've seen a lot of talk about the whole Luke thing and handing of Grogu off. I think the cooler aspect of the story that is kind of didn't get enough time in the spotlight was the whole idea that he now is the holder of the dark saber, and like what that means for like it's kind of funny because Bo-Katan in a previous episode was trying to tell him he's basically being a little bitch with the helmet and he's got to knock it off, right? But now she's being a little bitch with the saber,
which I've seen some people talk about that, and it's like, you know what, fair enough. Also, it's a little bit of a retcon because Sabine just gives her the darksaber the first time around. Now, I don't know if there's a situation where because she pledged fealty to her, if that's the case, or if it's it was the first time they got the saber, but she lost the saber, so now she has to reprove herself in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the aspect that they want to lean on, and that's fine and all, but it's weird to set this up where it's like, no, like, this is the rule, everyone knows it. It's like, well, no, they didn't, like, then. And, like, it's still Dave Filoni. Like, he was there and he was now, so, like,
yeah,
it's not even like it was like handing it off from different mentors and like that was like 30 years ago. Like we're gonna, you know, as we've expanded the universe, have an ability to do a software kind of like it's like fucking 5 years ago. Not even. It's like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's a little odd. Well, I guess we'll see how it plays out. But it could lead up to some cool antics in the next season.
I definitely think if the idea is like now it seems like we're tipping off with Grogu gone for at least part of the season, right? We're going to send off the next season of The Mandalorian will be the reclamation of Mandalore. I'm down for that for sure.
That was so sad, though, the whole taking off the helmet and looking at Grogu. I was just like, oh, this is so beautiful.
There was a lot going on there. It was like he was like him like stroking the computer monitor, watching it happen. It's like there's so much going on there. I'm not even entirely sure what the answer is. Is like, is it admiration? Is it relief?
Yeah.
Is it like, is this the equivalent of him fist pumping? Like, I don't know. Like, or like, is it literally him like pointing like, hey dad, look at this. Like, that's going to be me one day. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and then, yeah, which again, actually, I kind of forgot about this until just now. Obviously we can see the timeline of when they were shooting these episodes because he just doesn't have a mustache in that scene. So obviously it must have been at some point during or after, or he just started growing it back. I forget. But the point is, it's not the normal mustache we're used to seeing him have. So at some point there's some sort of timelines overlap with Wonder Woman on that, because he's just all of a sudden doesn't have a mustache there.
Yeah, that's funny. And then by the end, I forget what happened there. We had well, hang on. First off, the getting the doors open and sucking all of those troopers out into space, that was a dope scene.
Yes,
that was really cool. And also the fight with that one and the pipe, like to break its like neck, like, that was straight up Terminator. Like, that was so cool. Like, that was like a shot for shot remake of the destruction of the Terminator in the first one.
Yeah,
not really.
But it was cool to see that whole thing. The whole time I'm like, dude, take the fucking spear, take the fucking, and then he took the fucking spear. I was like, oh yeah, there we go. And it's great to then see him break it back out again to fight Moff Gideon. Of course, when he vented the thing, it's great because I watched basically all the Mandalorian like with my parents and or my brother if he's around, whatever. And we're watching, and my mom's like, oh yes, like he closed the thing. I was like, yeah, no, they're gonna be back. She's like, what? And I was like, they fly. Do you not remember like 2 episodes ago when they come flying in and steal him? I was like, they're going to be back.
Yeah.
Although to her credit, when the X-wing showed up and the person got out, she's like, is that Luke? And I was like, yeah, probably. And then like, they're going and whatever, and she goes, but is that Luke? I was like, wait, no, hang on a second. You saw the X-Wing show up, and you're like, is that Luke? Good instincts. You've now seen more evidence that are making it even more cementing the fact that it's Luke, and you seem less confident now than you were 5 minutes ago.
Oh, man.
It was cool seeing the mirror between that and the Darth Vader hall scene in Rogue One.
Yeah, I think what they did with the scene, and I feel like maybe what the actual intention was, is actually like now that we've established the Star Wars universe and we've established that like these awesome Jedi Knights are awesome at wielding their lightsabers, like that they needed to give Luke one on-screen shot with that. I feel like it doesn't really count so much in The Last Jedi because he.
Well, and also understanding that there's a limitation to how an older Mark Hamill can do on screen with all of that.
Sure. But like to do this, basically a reshot of the scene of Vader ripping through the halls, like that was awesome. That was so cool. And just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I will say, as much as this scene was good and it was chill inducing, the Vader scene still is one of the most breathtaking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and a big part of it, I mean, like it was great. Like visually, like just like you can feel how vicious he is in the way he's striking and doing all of that, and the way it's shot is like gorgeous and like the fucking shadows and smoke. But the score on top of that, like induces heart palpitations almost in the way that the Hans Zimmer one during like what's it called? Oh my god, what was the name of that World War II movie that I can't think of now?
Dunkirk.
Yeah, Dunkirk. Like the way that that literally affected my heart rate. Like that was like still felt the same way about I still hear that like trailing away siren from Rogue One as it's going, and then you have the music like soaring underneath it, like and you hear the screams and the blasters and the lightsaber, and it's like all of it together. It's just like, geez,
it's wild.
I felt like I ran like a fucking mile sprint after watching that scene.
And like force tossing people while doing it, like it's crazy.
Also, while we're on the topic of like scores, Ludwig Göransson was on one during this fucking episode. His score was ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, that scene was good, the music and that, but like during the fight scenes, like when he's fighting the fucking Death Trooper, and like when they're like doing the chase in space and like they're flying in and they start their raid and everything like that. Wild.
Yeah. Oh man. Moff Gideon. I forget how that wrapped up. He's under arrest, right? They basically have him under arrest. Is that what's going? I forget. He's shackled by the end.
Yeah, he's going to kill himself, and Kara knocks the gun out of his because she wants him to stand trial with the New Republic, and obviously he didn't want to do that. But obviously that leaves him on the board. We'll see more of him. I'm sure he'll have some more havoc to create.
100% for sure. Well, that's cool. I'm excited for the next round. I did think it was okay. So, there's been something funny about Boba Fett being in this stuff, and I couldn't quite place it until the post-credit scene. And I think what's hysterical about it, and it happened while he was slowly walking down the steps into Jabba's palace, is the the armor being for a slimmer man, and the robe underneath, and his belly protruding. I think it just makes for a really comical experience.
Well, I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have made the armor to better accommodate him. Like, it's not like anyone measured the dimensions. Like, no, this is from the original movie. It has to be this chest plate. Like, I'm sure they can make one that fit him. Like,
I think that's what's funny is that's what it seems like they did. They was like, no, it has to be like true to this, and it almost seems like a bad cosplay, like somebody that shouldn't be wearing it is wearing it, and then the skirt thing kind of flapping underneath it. It was the whole visual experience is very funny.
Yeah, I guess most of the time they do shoot him from like the waist up, so you don't really notice a lot of that. And is that one of the few scenes where they show him like walking around and stuff like that. I guess I didn't really notice, but you're right. You could tell the dimensions are a little off.
I just feel like what they were doing there was like, look, you guys all pretended you loved Boba Fett. You think he's like some badass character, and we're just gonna knock him down a peg. I feel like that's how that played out.
The monkey's paw.
But that was pretty wild. Like I'm not.
Also,
like,
by the way, it's Bib Fortuna's palace.
Yeah, that's true. Well, not anymore. It's Boba's palace now. I did think that it was really cool. While I'm not like super excited about what the show will be, the idea that after getting 100,000 announcements on the Disney Investor Day stuff, that there was another thing to be announced, and it's coming out next year. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's cool because I did think that there might be a little bit more to the Fennec Shand character as well, and I guess we'll get the opportunity to see that because the two of them were riding together.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned with all these shows about... What's that?
We ride together, we die together.
I'm a little concerned with all these shows, what the level of crossover would be. Not that I'm opposed to it, because, I mean, I plan on watching all of them, but, like, I wonder if it becomes a little obnoxious to a slightly more casual viewer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious if, like, we get some sort of semblance of these are the more mainstream, and these are not, so that you could kind of pick and choose. Like, obviously they want you to watch them all and keep you subscribed. But, like, they might... it does feel like a lot for a viewer that's not super invested to, like, have to piece together all of it.
I like that there's more Star Wars, but I do feel concerned if this stretches Filoni and Favreau their ability to... Now, listen, if they hire great people, then their direct involvement with the other shows doesn't have to be as big, and that's great, right? They can stay predominantly focused on this, and well, at least for Filoni, I guess it'll be the Bad Batch as well. But I'm curious about how that all works out, and I also wonder. I think we largely kind of put to bed the idea of like Star Wars fatigue, but if there's too many shows, it won't feel as special to like if we have like, oh, this season ended and then next week is the next one starts. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to want at least a month or two of like palate cleanser between,
Yeah, I hear you.
Just so I can miss it,
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a different show, like I want to miss it before I jump into this new thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's fair. I guess we'll see how it plays out.
I mean, it seems like the next thing to come out will be the Boba Fett show a year from now, and it seems like the Mandalorian will come sometime shortly after that. and then we'll start getting the other shows as well.
Yeah. Well, aren't they both December?
I think the way it's looking, based on what they said, is like December for Boba Fett and like January or February for Mandalorian.
I thought they came out and said Christmas for the Mandalorian.
I thought they said Christmas for Boba Fett and shortly after for.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, either way, it was an exciting season.
Oh, for sure. I enjoyed it. I did think it got a little unfocused trying to add and show off so many different characters who were going to then be thrown to the winds. I would have liked to see a little bit more Grief just because I find him to be entertaining on screen.
Yeah.
But those are relatively small gripes, and we'll see if they refocus.
Grandpa Grief?
Yeah. And I do think, like, largely they'll probably refocus around the ensemble of the Mandalorians.
Sure.
And maybe we get a return of some of those ones from the first season, like the Favreau-voiced character, who was, what's his name? Some Tar Vizsla, I think, or no, one of the Vizslas, I forget. There's too many of them. Like that'll be a cool storyline, I think, and maybe that's an introduction to get Sabine back in the show.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm imagining then I was wrong with my prediction of Ezra, though who knows, maybe that's ultimately who Luke hands him off to. But obviously they're, and I'm not surprised, and I can't say I blame them for maintaining that reveal for whenever the Ahsoka show comes out.
Yeah, that seems like it would be. Do you think? I feel like that'll be like a season finale thing of that first season.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Unless it's early on, and that's how like, and maybe it's like more of a duo show.
Could be. It could be.
Similar to how we unveiled Grogu in the first episode of The Mandalorian at the end.
I do wonder how things go without Grogu on screen for a majority of time.
Yeah, me too. It's a great, because that character, that relationship that they forged was fantastic, and like I liked the whole like loner Mando. He's able to communicate with Grogu in a way because he doesn't really want to. It seems like he wants to be by himself. So like having the character that's like semi there made it easy for him. I don't know. It was cute.
I wonder too. I don't know. I was gonna say. I'm curious. I'm curious in an excited way, like not so much in like a cautious way, but I mean I'm a little bit cautious too. How it goes as this show would seem to lean more heavily on a serialized storyline as opposed to the episodic, because you could see that transition already happening in the back half of this season, which is kind of what I had expected. I was a little surprised how still very episodic it was the first couple of episodes, but they obviously kind of gently eased off that, and I'm sure there'll still be one-off episodes,
sure.
And that's okay. But I like it better that way, where you get, even if it's arcs within a season, right? Where it's like these 3 episodes are really tightly together, and then we kind of have a one-off to reset the scale a little bit, and then you have a 3 or 4 episode arc or whatever,
Yeah. It's like 2 episodes of story, then we dump out the toy bin. Then 2 episodes of story, we dump out the toy
I'm okay with that sort of thing, cool. And all of it's connected by one large overarching thing. Because for me, especially in a show that's 40-ish minutes or whatever, right, on average, it's hard to really feel like there's any momentum when it's a hard reset every episode, because you have to like world build and establish for like at least 5 or 8 minutes at the beginning of each episode.
Yeah,
and by the time you get to the story proper, it feels like, well, we don't have any time left to like really like expand and appreciate what's going on here in this episode, and we're already off to the next thing.
Right. Well, that's it for this season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it would seem so.
All right, well, catch you next week. Or should we do our my Game Bite sign off?
Bye.